What's going on with the chat? I'm back. Uh, Let me find some better lighting. Let's see what looks better from. Hmm. Uh, this looks okay. I might switch it up. Uh, if it gets darker, so we'll make sure it's decent lighting. Mm, okay, that's cool. So don't plan on staying on here long. I want to go work out, but I was literally at happy hour an hour ago when I found the news that James Earl Jones just passed away. He was 93 years old, and dude is a legend. If you when you click on this um, live stream, you'll probably see the picture I've chosen. But James Earl Jones has done more than Darth Vader's voice. He's done a lot. And some of the people will probably remember him as also the voice of Mufasa, right? Or the 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 father in Coming to America, King Joffrey Jafar. Um, but he's done a lot of stuff over his acting career. Um, I can't even mention all the stuff that he's done. He played a famous boxer. I can't remember his name, the boxer's name that is. Um, but I can't remember if it was a fictional boxer or the depiction of a real life boxer. Um, so I don't think it was Jake Johnson, but it was somebody I can't remember. But he's done a bunch of movies, so many. Like the dude is a legend. So just want to give him his flowers because I was just shocked that he passed away, and it's sad too because the last when he did the movie, I mean when he did the Disney Plus series um, Kenobi, he said that would be the last time that he voices Darth Vader. So it's kind of sad because I mean everyone's like when they think of Darth Vader, they hear James Earl Jones' voice, that rumbling voice. And the funny thing is that wasn't going to originally be the voice of Darth Vader. Originally, the body actor who played Darth Vader, David Prowse, was supposed to do the voice, but they didn't like it. By the way, any troll that comes here, I'm automatically just banning you. Like I'm not gonna even time you out. Um, when my moderators come in here, I'm also gonna let them know anyone who comes in here saying anything that's not relevant, that's disrespectful, I'm just banning you. I don't give a shit. So just letting you know. So if any of my moderators are here, um, whether it's Moonlit Fern or Miss Needles or anyone else, I'm letting them know. Just time you guys out. I mean, just ban you outright. No timing out. Just ban you straight up. If you're not dropping a super chat, then I don't want to hear anything disrespectful. So after I said that, it looked like a few people immediately left. So you know better, because I will cook you, and then I'll ban you. But first, I want to make sure you look stupid. So with that being said, again, this is just me giving my flowers to James Earl Jones because he's played so many characters in movies and TV shows that I've watched over the past 40 years. So um, But yeah, guys. So again, like I said, giving my flowers to James Earl Jones, who passed away at 93 years old. Hollywood legend. Like I said, not just for Darth Vader, but for like literally dozens of parts that he's played, both as a voice actor and as a physical actor as well. So, um, what's up, Ruben? So yeah, um, and this might be short because, like I said, I don't know how many people have seen. Well, I think pretty much anyone who's watched a significant amount of Hollywood has probably seen James Earl Jones in something, or have heard his voice in something, whether it's Star Wars or Lion King or Best of the Best or Coming to America or um, so many other movies. But if not, like I said, I don't care. This is my video just to give flowers to that guy. I really don't care about people's dissenting views on it. I was on Instagram and I saw Mark Hamill giving his flowers to James Earl Jones as well, and some guy posted, yeah, R.I.P. to James Earl Jones. He supported Palestine, so he's a legend. And everyone, even people who might support Palestine were probably like, "Dude, shut the f up!" Like, this dude's worth is not tethered to your your approval of his political stances on international conflicts. So I hate how people will reduce anything to like current events. Like, everything doesn't reduce to the presidential election. Everything doesn't reduce to the conflict in the Middle East. Like, they need to chill. But let's see, what time is it? 7. Oh yeah, so 7 p.m. So this would be the time where I would expect people to actually contribute to to the chat. Usually I wouldn't do so earlier than 6 p.m., but it's past 7 p.m., so I would expect there would be people interested in chatting today. We'll see. If not, like I said, I'll just end this and start doing something else. I have plenty of other things to do, of course. Mm. But yeah. Oh, I should probably play some music, right? I didn't even think of that. Um, but something different. Um, Getting tired of the samurai zen music. So maybe something else. And I'm getting tired of the Batman ambient music. Hmm. Trying to think of. Huh. Guys, yeah, I'm looking for some good background music, but I don't see the ones that I want to do. Let me expecting more music. I might have to go through my listing here. Gaming, no. Uh, Dang. Well, still waiting for some replies in the chat. Like I said, if it's nothing but foreigners, they probably won't be able to relate to who James Earl Jones is, especially a foreigner under 40, which is probably the problem right now. I'm probably dealing with some mostly folks right now who aren't American. So because I'm pretty sure Ruben isn't, and the other trolls, who knows, but I'm still gonna look for some music before I go, even though it might be pointless if I'm not going to be on for too long, but we'll see. We shall see. Don't want to do the Chinese classical music. Tired of that. Like I think I'm looking for the lo-fi stuff. Yeah, I think I'll put on some lo-fi music. Tokyo Tones, and that's lo-fi, but I don't want to. I don't want that one. Huh. But I'll take some suggestions. I'll take some musical suggestions too. Um, Maybe no one will see this, but on the replay, if someone wants to leave in the comments, hey, why don't you play such and such music? I'll take that up in consideration. However, I will have to say that I can't really use copyrighted music so much. I'll get a I could possibly face a copyright strike, or if not a copyright strike, it'll just be copyrighted, which will mean that the video won't be the video will be demonetized. So, but let's see. Looking for some other lo-fi besides that Tokyo Tones. Hmm. I have way too many YouTube subscriptions. Yep, way too many. Hmm. Huh. Newswatch. What did I? Huh, I don't remember signing up for this Filipino news channel, Newswatch Plus Philippines. I guess I must have done it at some point. I just don't remember anymore. Um, in none of my subscriptions do I see anything about James Earl Jones in any of the new videos put up. So I guess most of the stuff was streamed or filmed prior to hearing that. But I would think like someone with a live stream would I don't know, play it. I mean, do something on it. Huh. Um, Polar Bear says, "Hi, what's up, Polar Bear?" So I'm just looking for some background music for the video, and I spent more time searching than actually having something to talk about. So I apologize for that. It's also because there wasn't really anyone in the chat as well. Um, I don't know where my lo-fi. I don't know where all my lo-fi content is, except for that one channel. And I know I have others. Um, I had an anime lo. Oh, here it is. Here's the anime lo-fi. All right, this one should be good to go. If you don't know what to say and do or not do before, during, and after a self-defense incident, you can get to jail, yep, yep, seriously injured, or worse. Don't let this happen to you or your loved ones. Check out USC. All right, got some. We are in there, folks. All right, chat. Let me turn the volume down a bit. Kind of cool though, right? So it's Star Wars lo-fi. Da da da. Gotcha. Like I said, giving a shout out to James Earl Jones. For me, his most epic role was as Darth Vader. So, um, so of course, I had to play some Star Wars lo-fi. Tuck this pillow behind me. But yeah, guys. So, let's say if anybody has a favorite movie of theirs starring James L. Jones, you know, put it in the chat, or if someone sees this on a replay of this video, then you can leave it in the comments. But this is a lo-fi music channel called Closed on Sunday. This one is like all like Star Wars, but on the same channel they have other selections. Like they have one that's like all like anime and some other stuff. Like this shows like an image of Ahsoka, I guess, in an office of some sort with a loth cat. I think that's what you call a loth cat, lothal cat, something like that. But hey, I'm 20 minutes in. No, no word from the folks in the chat. So I might cancel this pretty soon. Oh, each AI song has its own title. This one's called Anakin's Dark Deeds. Parentheses. I'm so sorry. Featuring King T Divine, I think. I'm chilling right now. I just had happy hour, and right before I went to happy hour, I ate. So, and by the way, at happy hour, I didn't actually drink. I just had some buffalo wings. Um, my homeboy didn't drink either. Actually, he just bought some food and actually took most of it home with him. um, but yeah, neither one of us really drank. Um, Surprisingly, it was more people in it than what we thought. Like when we got there, there were like no cars there, so we were wondering if it was even people there. Then we got there, and the bar was actually filled up for a Monday. And like I said, that's when we got the news that James Earl Jones had passed away. Because at first, when you see something online, you're like, "Oh, this is fake news." But then I looked at the source. I'm like, "Oh, this is authentic." And then, if that wasn't enough, like 5 minutes after that, it appeared on TV. That's why the internet is always your fastest source of information. Not always the most reliable source of information, but definitely your fastest source of information. Because it was coming through the comic book fandom world and sci-fi fandom world first. When I first saw that he had passed, I think it was on comicbook.com or something like that, and another related website. I think I was actually on Instagram at the time, and they posted it from their website to Instagram on my feed, and I was like, "Oh man, not." I was like, "Not." I was like, "Not James Earl Jones." And you forget how old some of these people are because you grew up watching them, but the last time you've seen them is probably like in these films, so you don't realize how old they've become, that they're living with health conditions now. But he was 93, so it he lived a full life. And all of those actors from the original Star Wars are up there in age now. Like that movie happened 40 um like 46 years ago, almost 47 years ago, really. Yeah, it happened like that. Movie's like 47 years ago. And you add that to the fact that most of them were already adults when they played that part. Like the youngest were Luke and Leia, played by Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, who were both 19 when they started playing those parts back in 1976. But the rest of those guys, like Harrison Ford and all those other people, were already like in their 30s when they played that part. No, no, I think, wait, was Harrison Ford 30? Uh, No, not in the first movie. I don't think he was 30. I think by the second one he was, but close enough. Like they were all into their adulthood by the time the first movie released in 1977. And like I said, you flash forward 47 years later, that's a bit of time. So you know that Mark Hamill's at least 67. Carrie Fisher would have been around the same age if she was still alive. Um, by the way, Mark Hamill also did his last voicing of the Joker in the latest DC animated movie called Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, which is all part of a three-part movie special. Um, there's like straight to video, I mean, well, straight to digital. And it's part of the Tomorrowverse, which started back in like 2021. Hey, Flutterby, how are you? But what was I saying? That oh, so Mark Hamill's last time playing Joker was in that was in that movie because he said he wasn't going to play it without Kevin Conroy. And since Kevin Conroy passed, that was also his last time playing the Joker. He said, "How are you doing?" I'm doing well, thank you. Still waiting for you to hit me up so we can do like a video together. Um, like I said, I don't know what socials you're on, but let me know what you're on, and we can put like a little get together off off screen so that we can see when when might be convenient for you that we can do a video like a live stream together. And again, you can keep your um, we can keep your identity behind the behind the veil, so to speak. But people will probably just enjoy hearing your voice, and then it could just be us talking. And like like you could do it different ways. Like either you could do it like from a microphone and then just have like a backdrop in the video when you're talking. You could do it that way, or you could do it like. All right, sorry about that. My video was reconnecting, so I'm sorry. To thanks, I've had phone problems, so not been online much. Okay, yeah. Whenever you can get that together, like I said, I don't know what other social media platforms you use, but on here I have a Facebook business page that's attached to this YouTube channel, and I have a business IG page that's connected to this channel. So people who want to reach out to me can do so through either my Facebook or IG accounts that's attached to this channel, or they can email me. So I've had a few people say they email me, but I've never received those emails. Moonlit Fern, I know he uses Snapchat. He said to hit him up on Snapchat. I have to download the app. But if you want to email me, or like I said, you can hit me up on my Facebook account or my Instagram account. And they're my business account, so they are they're safe. Okay, but you can do that and see if we can put something together. Like I said, we can do a stream together, and like I said, you can use just a backdrop where you're not actually in the video. You just have like a backdrop showing in the video, and then you're talking, or like I said, you could. I was jokingly saying you could also do it like those investigative reporting uh, exposés when they have like someone who's like hidden in the shadows and they're like snitching on someone. They're like, and it's usually they change the voice for protection of the eyewitness. Like if you want to do it that way, you could do it like that too. That would actually be pretty funny if you did if you did the live stream like that, where it's like you in the shadows. That would be funny. Unless you wanted to use some sort of animated backdrop too, you could do that as well. Protecting the innocent, yeah. But did you want to do a live stream? And like I said, you just don't have to show your actual face. Like I said, you could just have like a backdrop in the video, so no one has to see you, and then you just talk from like a microphone, like well, not like a microphone, but like using your headset. And guys, can people hear the music in the background? So I left it where it should be just loud enough to hear it, but not loud enough to give much interference. So I will do when I fix my phone problem. Okay, cool. Let me know. Um, until then though, like I said, I don't know what sort of socials you use, but you can hit me up. Well, I know you said you can hit me up through Buy Me a Coffee, so you can message me through that. Because I had left you, I think, a message on that you had. I don't think you replied to last time I checked. At least I can hear. Thanks. It's very relaxing. Like it makes me want to take a nap, low key. Which I guess is what it's for, like relaxing or studying. Or I wouldn't want to try to study to this. 'Cause like I said, it would put me to sleep. But do you have any preferred apps outside of Buy Me a Coffee that you use, like Kick, Snapchat, uh, Facebook, Instagram? I think you told me before you don't use Facebook or Instagram, but maybe and I think you don't use Snapchat either. Or you use WhatsApp. Okay, I have to fix my WhatsApp. It's still it's still tethered to my old phone number, so I haven't been able to use it on my new phone. So WhatsApp. Okay. If you use WhatsApp, do you have Viber? Those two are used heavily in the Philippines, WhatsApp and Viber. So that's why I have both of those. No. Okay. Oh, and like I said, by the way, this live stream is about James Earl Jones. So I'm assuming since we are within a similar age range, you've come across a few of his films back in the day, right? Um, like I said, rest in peace to James Earl Jones. Like first, the body actor of Darth Vader died many years ago, David Prowse. Now the voice actor behind Darth Vader died, and well, at least we still have the younger version of him that played Anakin. Well, oh, then the third person died. The first, I think, the first person who died was the person who played Anakin as an old man. He died, and then David Prowse died, the body actor, and now James Earl Jones died. So the last person we have, but no, the last two people we have is the one who played him as a child and the one who played him as a young adult. So those two actors are alive. And then there was a different voice actor who played Anakin as a an adult on the Clone Wars animated series. I don't know who voiced him on that, but like I remember him on lots of stuff. Like I remember him as the coach on Best of the Best when it was like this um, Taekwondo team. Even though it was like only one person on the actual team that knew Taekwondo, but it was like a Taekwondo karate team that was supposed to take on the best Taekwondo karate team from South Korea. That was like a classic movie from like I think like 1989. Then there's he is Mufasa, of course, in Lion King. Then there's he is King Joffrey in Coming to America. There's him as this boxer in I, I don't know the name of the movie. I don't know if it was The Great White Hope or something else, but he plays this black boxer. That's really good. It's like a young James Earl Jones. Some people may not be used to seeing a younger, slim James Earl Jones because I think most people's image of him is of an older, portly man, but this is a young, slim James Earl Jones. Yeah, definitely coming to America with Eddie Murphy. Yeah, that might be for some people their biggest impression of him. Um, then there's a bunch of other roles he did. I know he's done stuff on Broadway. Um, oh, he played the bad guy in Conan the Barbarian. He played this basically like a sorcerer type person in Coming to America. I forgot about that. Yeah, Conan. That was a classic role for James Earl Jones playing a bad guy. He can play. It's funny. He can play both very convincing good guys and bad guys. Not every act. So some actors have a niche where they can only play good guys and they're not convincing as bad guys, and then some is vice versa that they can only play bad guys convincingly but not good guys convincingly. But he could do both well. What else was he in? Wasn't he in Field of Dreams with what's his name? Um, what's the actor from Field of Dreams? But wasn't he in that movie in Field of Dreams? Um, like that's why I would like a bunch of people in the chat that could help me out with all the movies they've seen him in or heard of him being in. Think first, act second says, "What's up, fam? What's good, chat?" So let them wait. I'm taking. talking to my son. LOL, RIP. James Earl Jones. Oh, let me say it like he said, "Let them wait. I am talking to my son." I look like you, and you know both he and the one who played the queen both played the king and the queen and Lion King. Like that was not by accident that they chose James Earl Jones and they chose I forgot the actress name who also played Sarabe and Lion like who played the lioness queen. Um, like they both were the actors that played the king and queen in Coming to America. So yes, I think he was in Field of Dreams. Yeah, that's what I thought. I know he's in Field of Dreams. Um, what other roles? He's played so many roles. Like I said, it's hard to remember everything he's played in. Like I said, that's not even to mention the stuff he's done like on Broadway. Like he's done multiple plays as well. Like he's both a theater level actor and a film actor. To do both convincingly is someone who's like a true thespian. Like Lawrence Fishburne is another person who can switch back and forth from theater to film. Think First XX as Claudine was another movie. Oh, he was in that. Okay, if you didn't mention it already, I didn't. So I didn't realize that about the joint king and queen roles. Yeah, like yeah, both the actress and James Earl Jones, who played the king and queen and Come to America, also played the king and queen in Lion King. I think that was by purpose. Disney was like, yeah, let's get these two. Like they already sound like they have regal sounding voices. So he was a well trained actor. Yeah, he was. He was. And like I said, some people may not remember him in the early movies where he was like a slim actor who might make your moms want to have an affair. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, sort of like Marlon Brando. Like people think of the Marlon Brando from The Godfather when he's like this portly older man, but they don't remember the young, thin Marlon Brando that had women swooning. Same thing with James Earl Jones. So yeah, they had a dope chemistry for real. Yeah. It's a thing first like seconds at CNN and Verizon voice. Oh yeah. That's right. This he did the yeah, he used to do the voiceover for Verizon and for Bell Atlantic before it became Verizon. Because matter of fact, it was funny. Like when I was living in Silver Spring and in the DC area, I remember my little Spanish homegirls. Like they were, I was, I think I was either telling them about Star Wars or something else, and I was like, and I was telling them they was like, oh, the guy that does the voice for the phone commercials. I was like, yeah, they those were some cute girls, by the way. Just somebody says just Googled it. Just Google because couldn't remember them all. Yes, Field of Dreams, Driving Miss Daisy. Yep, Driving Miss. He wasn't Driving Miss Daisy, wasn't he? But he wasn't the chauffeur. The chauffeur was what's his name? Um, Morgan Freeman. Yeah, the chauffeur was Morgan Freeman, but um, I forgot what role that James Earl Jones played. And yep, he was the voice of CNN. He said, "You were watching CNN." Yep. Man, I forgot about that. I remember that's been so long ago. He did that for CNN. He was the voice for Bell Atlantic and Verizon. I forgot about that. He said Verizon local and national 411. LOL. Said driving Miss Daisy. I forgot that. Yeah, because I knew he was in something else. Because I remember like like him wearing like the sort of like old fashioned get up with the suspenders. Wait, wasn't he also in Grumpy Old Men? Like he wasn't the two guys who were feuding, but I think he was the friend of both of them. So can someone check that? I think he was in Grumpy Old Men as well. I think he was no, he was either in Grumpy Old Men or he was in another movie with Morgan Freeman. Um, it was or both. So, thing first, second says Bell Atlantic. Yeah, crazy memories. I gotta think about his film catalog. He has a huge film catalog. That's what I'm saying. It would anyone who's watched anything and who's watched movies in Hollywood for like the last 40 years have seen something or watched something with his voice in it. Like, is you couldn't have like been into Hollywood movies and not experienced hearing or seeing James Earl Jones. See, I don't see him in Grumpy Old Men yet. And it might not have been that. It might have been this other movie with it's like him. No, no, no. He might have been in this movie. It was like him, uh, Morgan Freeman, and Jack Nicholson. I think. I can't remember the name of that movie. But I think there was a movie where it was like he, Morgan Freeman, and Jack Nicholson. But it's just that voice though. He was in Patriot Games. Yeah, he was in Patriot. Was it Patriot Games or was it the other one? The executive this no not executive decision. Yeah, it was either Patriot Games or it was like the sequel to Patriot Games. Both with Harrison Ford though. Um, Actually, I don't know if that other movie was a sequel to Patriot Games or it just happened to have also used Harrison Ford. Flutterby says lots of Disney and of course Star Wars. Yeah, definitely. Because usually, like when you do something for Disney, it's usually like a contract, so you'll do like multiple things for them. Hunt for Red October. Yeah, yeah, he wasn't Hunt for Red October. But what movie was it? Which was it? Was it Patriot Games or was it the other one where he played like the head of? Was it the head of the FBI or the CIA? And then he got sick, so then the the, the character played by Harrison Ford was promoted to replace him, and he was mentoring him, telling him all the political traps to look out for and stuff. Clear and present danger. Yep, that's it. That's it. It was clear and present danger. So he was in both of those. So here's the question: was Clear and Present Danger a sequel to Patriot Games? Because they were both written by the same author. Um, what's his name? But yeah, what was Clear and Present Danger a sequel to Patriot Games, or were they just two unrelated films? Oh, they were both Jack. Okay, they were both Jack Ryan, but like an older Jack Ryan than the version they have now in these in that Amazon Prime stuff. But yeah, I definitely remember because I actually went to go see Clear and Present Danger in the movies with my father because he likes that sort of he likes those sort of like political intrigue films. And I was surprised I liked it because I thought it was going to be less just. I thought it was just like this conservative wet dream at the time when I watched this film, but I was like, no, this is actually good. So I forgot the writer or novel or author though good films. Yeah, it's is it John? No, I was about to say John Grisham, not John Grisham. I forgot the guy's name. He writes nothing but like political thrillers. Um, What is that guy's name? I can't remember the name of the author either. Rainbow Six dude. Um, yeah, I can't remember the name of the author without googling it. But yeah, okay. At least I know that Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger were like actually tied together because I wasn't sure if they were tied together or they were just very similar films. Yeah, they were Tom Clancy novels. That's right. From what I hear, Tom Clancy just stamps his name on stuff, and he actually hires ghostwriters to do his to write his stuff. I wonder how true that is, because I know he also did like a few books with Bill Clinton, and I'm pretty sure neither he nor Bill Clinton actually wrote those books. I think he hires like ghostwriters, sort of the same way like DJ Khaled has DJs. He produces the music, and then he actually has other DJs come in and like make the make the music, and he just puts his name on it. But at least to DJ Khaled's credit, give um, he does actually give music credit to his ghost to the people he hires to do the music for him. Whereas I don't think Tom Clancy actually gives any like writing credits to his ghost writers. Yeah, I think Tom Clancy is from Maryland. No, I didn't say Tom Clancy died. Did, no, I was just saying that I was saying Tom Clancy hires ghost writers. He doesn't really write all his own novels. See, yeah, that DJ does do that, but Dre, Timbo, and several of those producers have the ghost production format. Yeah, I'm not surprised. A lot of them do that. My question is, do the rest of them also give credit to those DJs? Because like I said, at least Khalid does. Like, I mean, they all pay them, of course, but he he gives them music credit, or how I don't know how it's done in the music world, but I don't know if it's but however it's done, he gives them credit for working those pieces and for his songs. But I'm not sure if Dre and Timbaland do that. So Think First says not Tom passed you. I didn't know that. I didn't know Tom Clancy passed away. So not Tom passed years ago, and Khaled is one of a few that gives them credit. Yeah, I didn't think it was common in the hip hop world that many of these um, big name producers give these give their junior producers or DJs, whatever they want to call them, credit. I don't think that's very common in the hip hop world. I think Khaled is one of the few that actually do that. Thing first is, do you recall any of James Earl's plays though? I don't offhand. He's played like I know he's. I think he's done everything from like Shakespeare. I think he's done like Shakespeare plays, um, and then like more modern stuff as well. But I know he's on that level like Lawrence Fishburne, where they can actually do Shakespearean plays. But I can't recall any of them particularly. But like I said, if you probably if you go on IMDb, it might also list his theater stuff. I'm not sure because imdb.com or the Internet Movie Database, I think it usually just gives you like TV and film uh, catalogs of actors. I'm not sure if it gives their theater catalog as well. Thing first is let me look it up. That's classic. Yeah, Lawrence was a beast as well. Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne. Luckily, we still have him with us, and yeah, he's been around for a long time. Lawrence been around since he used to be called Larry, and I'm not even joking. Like in his first acting gigs, he used to go by Larry Fishburne. Then he changed it to Lawrence professionally. James did Fences. Wow. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did do Fences, didn't he? But yeah, Lawrence has been around since, like I said, when he did that. I think his first breakout role was when he played Cornbread in the movie Cornbread. I think that was Lawrence's first thing. The King of New York. Um, he's been in a couple of Spike Lee films. Like Lawrence Fishburne. I think he was in what's that Spike Lee film? Uh, not Mo Better Blues. School. Oh yeah, he was also in School Days. Yep, I think that was the first time was School Days. Um, and there was a few movies Spike Lee did with that had James Earl Jones in it too. One thing you can criticize Spike Lee for a lot of things, but one thing he did do, he did employ a lot of black actors and actresses. So you may not always agree with his views on things, but he put a lot of black actors to work. So James L. Jones was definitely in a few of his films. I think he was in the same film I'm thinking about where I think Lawrence Fishburne just played a really minor role. I think he played I think he played the DJ, the radio DJ in that film. And Flutter B says, does the link work? James L. Jones young and on stage. No, we can't see it, Flutter B. I think YouTube might not let the link show. What happens is you might have to like um, separate the IP address so that it'll show it. Because I think if you put it all together, it's going to not show it because the algorithm doesn't want you to post external links. So if you post an external link, you have to break it up um, so that the algorithm doesn't automatically censor it. No, YouTube is no all of them. Like Instagram does the same thing. Instagram doesn't let you share external links either. Like the only way you can share an external links is in the description of it. Like you have to put it in the description of your IG page to show an external link. Otherwise, like if you're posting in like comments or if you just make a post, like it won't let you show an external link. Like you have to show it in the description of your channel on Instagram. So a lot of them do that. I'm pretty sure TikTok probably does the same thing. He said, I guess that makes sense. So many viruses and malware out there. That and they that and also just for the pragmatic reason that they don't want people leave. They don't want people leaving the platform to go to another platform through an external link. They want to keep everything in house, so that's why they don't allow people to just share external links that would take you from their platform to somewhere else. But what was I saying before that? Yeah, I can't. What is the name of that other classic Spike Lee movie? Not School Days. School Days actually, like if you joined I remember back in the day. I don't know if they do it now, but like if you wanted to join a black fraternity, they'd be like, "Hey, you ever seen School Days?" Because if you said no, they'd be like, "All right, we want you to watch School Days, and we want you to buy the book, the the Divine Nine." Those were like your two requirements as if you were planning on being accepted into a frat and well into a line to pledge. You had to watch you had to watch School Days, and you had to read the book The Divine Nine. Does that make sense? Keeps you on that server, right? But yeah, what was the one with about Mookie and they were in Brooklyn and he was working for the Italians and at the pizza place. Um, do the right thing. That's it. I think James Earl Jones was also on Do the Right Thing, and I think Lawrence Fishburne had a small role in that as well as I think he was the radio DJ. I could be wrong, but I think he had a small part in that as well. But I think James Earl Jones was one of the old people um, at the park. Samuel had one too. Yep. Samuel Jones was definitely in School Days. He was like one of the people from down south they was beefing with when they went to the fried chicken spot. Oh no, Samuel was the DJ. Okay, my bad. It was Samuel. Samuel Jackson. Oh, then yeah, then Lawrence Fishburne wasn't in that. Then he wasn't in Do the Right Thing. It was Samuel Jackson, but I do think James Earl Jones was in it as well. Flutterby, have you seen any of these classic black films? If not, we're gonna give you we're gonna give you a list of films to check out. Ozzy was the old head. No, it was a couple. Yeah, there was another classic actor, R.I.P. Yeah, he was Ozzy Davis was in a lot of early Spike Lee films. Like I think he had a good relationship with Ozzy Davis, and the woman. Were they actually married in real life? Ozzy Davis and what's her name? Because they kept playing husband and I don't know if they were actually married in real life, but they always played husband and wife in all those films. Like they also played the father and mother in Mo Better Blues, and then Samuel Jackson was in that one too. But Samuel Jackson played the crackhead brother to Wesley Snipes, and no, not Mo Better Blues. And I'm sorry, in Jungle Fever. In Jungle Fever, they it was Ozzy Davis and also the other lady. Oh, there we go. I'm back. Sorry about that. Ruby D was his wife. Yeah. So was Ruby D Ozzy Davis' wife in real life? Because they always played husband and wife in so many of those Spike Lee films. But I'm trying to remember if they were married in real life. Thing first says Flutterby has some research to do. There are some classics out there. I think they were married. Let me check. Yep, they were in real life. Okay, I thought so. Yep. So they played a couple, and so in Do the Right Thing, they weren't a couple, but like they had a crush on each other. And I remember so Ozzy Davis went out to go buy her something because she was always mean. He would call her mother something and Do the Right Thing. That Do the Right Thing is such a classic. You also had like one of the first appearances, well, the first film appearance of Martin Lawrence, but Martin Lawrence's first appearance was in the TV show in the 80s, What's Happening Now, the sequel to What's Happening from the 70s. Then they did What's Happening Now in the 80s, and that was Martin Lawrence's first breakout role back then. And then his first film appearance was Do the Right Thing. Is it a good call? They were married. That's what's up. Do the Right Thing was based on a true story? I didn't know that. I thought this was like just something um, Spike Lee wrote. So I recall a spinoff or redo show. Yeah, I watch What's Happening Now more than I watch What's Happening. Like I couldn't relate to What's Happening because it was like kind of before my time. It was like the late '70s, and it was more, it was more about like that, any of those like black TV sitcoms that dealt with like living in poverty. I couldn't really connect with like I couldn't connect with uh, Good Times and What's Happening. But What's Happening Now, I like because like they were actually like doing well by that point in time. Like Roger and his sister and Big Shirley. That's where Big Shirley came from. But her name was just Shirley. But Cole got. That's where they got the name for Cole's girlfriend on Martin was Shirley from What's Happening Now. They named his girlfriend Big Shirley on Martin, based on her. But yeah, I clearly remember Raj, his sister, and Shirley. And then there was his girlfriend. So yep, a fight in a pizza spot in Long Island, I think. Okay, so it wasn't actually in Brooklyn, but it was in like the tri-state area. But yeah, that's when Radio Raheem got choked to death by the officer trying to restrain him. Said my bad. The incident was in Queens. Um, that Do the Right Thing was based on my bad. No biggie. Both, both Queens and like um
that part and that part of what county is that? I forgot, but all of that is on the Long Island Sound Island anyway. That's Queens is on the Long Island Sound. So after you come out of Queens, you go into Long Island. So yeah, Kings County. No, Kings County is Brooklyn. No, I'm thinking no the county that extends out of Queens is part of isn't part of the city. That's when they start referring to it as Long Island, even though the whole island is Long Island. But once you go beyond Queens, that um, they call all of that Long Island. But that's I forgot what's the name of that county. It's not Westchester. It's uh damn, I can't remember. But I'm not since I haven't lived out that way. Like you know, I haven't been up that way since I used to live in Philly back in the day. And never really went to New York. Like I've been to New York on my way to going to Connecticut, which was part of the tri-state area. So thing first is, did you know that the brownstone film for the Cosby Show was in Queens? It was. I thought they actually filmed that in Brooklyn because they were supposed to be based in uh I think they were supposed to be based on the good side of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, because everyone thinks Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn was bad, but there was like a really I know there's an expense there was like a really like uh upscale part of Bed-Stuy back in like the 80s. That's where at least on the show that's where they were supposed to be, but I don't know if it was actually filmed in Brooklyn. I thought they actually did film it in Brooklyn, but who knows? He said, "Yep, it was supposed to be based in BK. You're right. There was nice parts as well. Now it's completely different. Well, yeah, now all of Brooklyn is gentrified, but back in the '80s, Brooklyn was rough, depending on what part you live. But I knew that area was like the area in which the show was based on is an upscale part of Brooklyn, and that what's that the little preacher politician who's on MSNBC, um, um, whatever his name is. I know he had a mansion in Brooklyn as well. And I remember that was the first time I heard it. I was like, mansions in Brooklyn? I was like, how? Because I need to see where James L. Jones was born, but Brooklyn, aka the planet, was wild as fuck. Oh yeah, like '80s and '90s. Yeah, it was a whole different story. And that's another reason why I love the Cosby Show was that it was like one of those first TV sitcoms about a black family that didn't revolve around struggling. Like I just couldn't relate to that because even though I was like born in Baltimore and lived for a little while in a bad part of Baltimore called Park Heights, like I never related to that struggle, that sort of struggle comedy. Like I couldn't identify with like Good Times and all that sort of stuff. I could identify with like the Cosby Show and a different world. Um, even Benson wasn't that bad. I watched that. Well, at least I watched Benson, but I never watched the original show that it spun off from, which was called soap the soaps or soap opera, some whatever it was called. That Benson was a spinoff from. I never watched that. Then I would watch Webster and and different um, different what's it called, different folks or whatever. He said Benson was so good and the original show was okay. See, I never. The funny thing is, I didn't watch the original show until like way later because I just wanted to know. I was like, oh, this is where Benson was based on. But Benson was a much better show than the original show it spun off from. Just like a lot of people didn't know Family Matters was a spinoff from Perfect Strangers. Webster and Small World, Punky Brewster. Yep. Punky Brewster, that was one of my favorites, especially when they made it into a cartoon. Um, I think there was a cartoon version of Webster too for like a season. Definitely like Small World. I used to have a crush on that on the little robot. But what was the one with Arnold? What's that called? Something folks. Um, is it Thing First? Is it That's Right? Family Addis was a spinoff. Good call. Small World. Girl was a cutie. Yeah, she was. I like Punky Brewster too. Her and her best friend, the little black girl. um, yeah, it was a bunch of little shows out at that time. Another funny thing about Coming to America, since we talk about James Earl Jones. So remember when Eddie Murphy came out when they brought out Sexual Chocolate? He's like, everybody knows this young man from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. I didn't know that was an actual TV show that actually lasted for like a week. It lasted for like a week or two on regular TV. It really was. There really was a TV show called That's My Mama. I thought they made that up. That was a real black sitcom back then. I don't think a lot of people caught that unless you're like much older than us, like 50s or 60s. Like a lot of people may, and even people that old may not even remember because of their memory. Like they might may not remember that was an actual TV sitcom called That's My Mama that only was on for like two. I think it was on for like a week or two, and I only knew that because I looked it up a long time ago. I was like, wait, that was a real show. He said, everybody know this young man from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. He said, give it up for Sexual Chocolate. And that was a real TV show. That's My Mama. Facts of Life is definitely a classic one. He said, yeah, that was a real show. That's My Mama. It lasts as long as a snow one in the microwave. Yeah, I think it lasted for like just 1 week or 2 weeks on TV. I don't know who starred in it. There were a lot of black shows that came out in the 80s and 90s, and they only had like maybe a pilot episode and then were canceled right afterwards. Flutterby says, "Are you saying I've lost my memory because I'm old?" No, 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 no. That's not what I was saying. Flutterby was I was saying that there was a lot of like black TV sitcoms that came out in the 80s and 90s, and the people who might have been around to watch them may not even remember them because it was so long ago. Plus, those shows didn't last that long. Like they literally lasted like maybe a week or 2 weeks, and then they were canceled. So people may not remember them. Like people may not remember that Red Fox had a TV show after Sanford and Son because those shows didn't last that long. I think first as Eddie is hilarious, Sexual Chocolate is hilarious character though, and he brought him back for the Coming to America sequel. Like I'm not gonna lie, I pretty much watched Coming to America sequel on Amazon Prime just to see all the secondary characters. I really didn't care about. I mean, I liked his character, of course, in the movie, but I wanted to see if he was gonna bring back all the background characters, and he did. What didn't make sense though was how he brought back some of the old people, and it's like this is like uh this is like almost 40 years later. I would say like at least because Coming to America came out in what like 1988 or something like that. Um, so it's like at least 30 plus years later, and some of these characters that they played in the 80s were already like in their 70s and 80s, so they shouldn't have still been alive. Like the cantankerous three old people, like the barber, the other guy that was sitting in there, and the old Jewish man, they shouldn't have still been alive, but they were still in the sequel. I was like, how are they still alive? Flutterby says, wait, what was I doing? I don't know. What were you doing, Flutterby? I think first says the dude from Sanford and Son has a odd couple redo. Yeah. He said I didn't see Coming to America too. I didn't hear a great. It wasn't. So I'll put it this way. It wasn't great, but it didn't suck. It was it was meh. It was okay. Like it's not like I said. It's if you never watch it, you're not missing anything. But if you do watch it, it's not going to ruin the original for you. I'll put it that way. Think first is correct. 1988. I will never forget. He said, "Yeah, the barbershop crew would have died in like '98." Right? They were still. That's what was so funny. They were in the sequel. I'm like, how are these dudes alive? They should not be alive. But they did bring back sexual chocolate in that movie. So I'm not gonna give too much away if you want to see it because I'm pretty. It's been on Prime for a while, so you can probably watch it for free because you know now Amazon Prime changed its format, so now you can watch stuff on Prime for free with ads. So now, if you get a subscription, you're just paying to see stuff without the ads now on Amazon Prime. So you can watch. You should be able to watch it Coming to America on Prime for free because it's called Coming to America as well, but it's coming to number two America, and it has almost all the original actors back on there, except for Soul Glow dude because he didn't want to. He's he has low key hated playing that role for like the last 30 so years because that's all people would remember him as the guy with the Jerry curl and Coming to America. So he's hated that role since he said, um, but he didn't come back, but nearly everyone else did. Oh, and the sister didn't come back either. Yeah, she wasn't back in there. Assuming she's alive, but she wasn't back. So it sounds like something I watch when I'm really bored. LOL, but I'll try. He said that's what's up. I have a Prime subscription. Oh well, if you have a Prime subscription, then you can just watch the whole thing without ads. But right now, so Amazon Prime has what's they originally had the free version called Freeview. Um, but now you don't even have to go to Freeview to watch stuff. You can just go directly to Prime and watch stuff free with ads. So you can see all of the boys, and other shows which were like exclusive originally, but they'll just have it with ads. Like ads aren't a big deal to me because I mean those of us who are older than 40 have watched TV for the longest watching commercials. So for us, it's not a big deal to see something with ads in it. I mean, even on YouTube, you're watching stuff with ads. Like hopefully this video once it's uploaded. But um, yeah, I don't mind watching it for free just to sit through a few ads because usually when I sit through ads is when I run to the bathroom or grab some food. So he said the Soglo dude had the slimy scalp, poor sport. Like I think because he got teased for it for so much for playing that role, that's why he kind of resented playing that role, and maybe because his career didn't kick off that big after that movie. Like he's done stuff afterwards. Like he was in one of those medical dramas on TV for a long time, and he's done a few movies like small roles. But I remember him being on some medical drama. I can't remember which one, but I know he's like pretty much resented his role on Coming to America because he got. I think he felt like he got what's the role what's the name for when an actor gets pigeonholed into like one type of role. Said, was James Earl Jones active in the civil rights movement? I'm not sure, to be honest, because I mean, he definitely would have been in that in the '90s. He definitely that would have been his era. He's part of the silent generation. Um, I don't know. That would be something to look up. He said, "Nah, I pay for zero ads. Screw that noise." I hear you. He said he did a good job in the movie Drop Squad. Okay. He said, yeah, he did well in ER. Yep, that was an ER. ER was really big before the other medical dramas came along. Like like every era of TV has had like some good medical drama. Before ER, it was like what John, what was it, St. John's or something like that. And then there was one that even Denzel Washington was in the early '80s. Typecasted. That's the word for it. Yeah. But Coming to America was my thing. Like I remember my cousin and I would just randomly call friends, and we would start doing the part of the twins on Coming to America that they met when Hakeem and Semi were trying to meet girls at the bar, and the twins came up to him. He's like, well, my name is Peaches, and I'm the best. All the DJs want to feel my breast. Pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up. So we used to call people just doing that randomly. It used to be funny, just prank calling people. But we were prank calling people we knew. There was that medical show from the '70s with an Ambo classic. I guess the first medical drama was probably MASH. That was like the biggest of all of them. But I could never get into MASH. Like when MASH came on TV, that was that's when I knew it was time to go to bed. it was either it was either time to go to bed or I'd turn on like a video game or something. But I couldn't get into MASH. It's LOL. The twin scenes was classic. The drag queen Arsenio role was crazy, right? Yeah, that stuff was funny. So that dating scene kind of feeds into the sequel. I'll say that much. I'm not going to say any more. But when Hakeem was looking for like a date, but it was none of those people he met at that bar that day, though. I'll say that much. But it does feed into that scene when he was looking for dates. But I'm trying to remember, was anyone else from Coming to America made it into Lion King? So it was James Earl Jones. It was the actress who played his wife. Um, nope, it was just those two. Also, if you remember, Cuba Gooding Jr. had a cameo in Coming to America. He was one of the kids getting his hair cut in the barber shop. That was Cuba Gooding Jr. Uh, thanks for the no spoiler, fam. I'm gonna watch it this week and let you know. All right, cool. That's what's up. Like I said, it's not disappointing, but it's nowhere like because of nostalgia. Coming to America is always gonna be all the way up here, so it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for like a sequel made 30+ years after the original to like be on the same footing as the original movie. The only movie I've seen do that was Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick was like the only movie that came out just as good, if not better, than the original. And I think that's because they let Tom Cruise run with it. It didn't have any interference from the studios to make sure that it was approved for modern audiences, which we both know what that means when we talk about modern audiences. Like it was none of that diversity crap. Like Top Gun Maverick was good. But other than Top Gun Maverick, I haven't heard of any movies where it's like a sequel from like a movie made over 30 years ago that can beat the original or come close to it. Flutterby says I've never seen Maverick yet. You gotta see it, Flutterby. It's really good. Trust me, it's really good. Now people are saying the sequel to Beetlejuice is good too. They're not saying it's as good as the original, but I think the sequel to Beetlejuice. Oh, I just said it 3 times. But anyway, uh, the sequel they said has made $160 million this weekend. Yeah, like Thing First says, you have to see it. He said Maverick was so good. He said uh, Tom Cruise is an excellent actor. The Mission Impossible series is awesome. Yeah, that's good too. To me though, the second one is always going to be the best one because that was a John Woo film. I don't think you can top a John Woo film. Let me get back to the other comments you made. You said, "Fun fact: I never watched The Lion King." Damn, really? I saw it in the movies, like as like a. I think I was like 17 when it came out. No. I was. It came out in '94, not '95. So I was 16 when it came out. I think I went to go watch it with my big sister, and we were like both like, "Yo, this was good." Like that was like the first time like Disney really went all out and like matching like the characters with like actual like actual like biologically accurate depictions of the animals. So when the movie came on, instead of it normally being like the little Disney thing, no, instead it was just like a lion's roar. It's like everybody was like, "Whoa!" Like when the first Lion King came on, like in the theaters, like that, yeah, that was it was good. And I remember, black people joked for a long time that Lion King was gonna be like the closest we ever get to a Disney classic before they did, the Princess Frog. But yeah, it was good. And he said, "Hello, Cuban was in there. He had a mean high top in there that rivaled the boys in the hood in the in the hood cut. Yeah, yeah. He had this little bumpy high top fade in Coming to America, and the guy's supposed to be um, shaping him up. But yeah, he said Beetlejuice 2 is good. That's what's up. Yeah, it's made over 160 million so far this weekend. So people must like it. Like everyone from the original movie is there except for the husband, who in real life has had some legal issues. So the less we say of that, the better. But, um, see, I gotta watch that as well. Damn, Lion King seems like one of those ones. Yeah, yeah, Lion King was a classic when that came out. Flubby says it's one of those films that never gets old, right? Because since it's set in like the African like savannah, it's kind of timeless. And the fact, like I said, at the time they were at the height of their animation game. Like they were using hand drawn and CGI and combining it, and plus they actually brought in the actual animals so that they could actually like depict how they move and how they behave. So it was like really accurate to how those animals actually move and behave. And that was like the first time I think that was like really done. That's why it was really good. And like I said, I think it captured everyone's attention as soon as the movie came on because all you heard was a huge roar of a lion as soon as the Disney emblem came on. Think versus Disney stuck in some weird stuff in those movies though, like Little Mermaid, weird sexual content. Well, here's the thing. Well, yeah, there was some definitely sexual stuff in Lion King. Oh, that's why you haven't seen it yet. So, so yeah, you don't know about the Lion. Yeah, you'll see. Lion King has some weirdly sexual content too, because there's been people on Facebook commenting that they felt weird being sexually attracted to an animal. So I'll just leave it at that. But um, the funny thing, I don't know if you heard me saying this in my previous live stream, but the funny thing about the Little Mermaid, I was talking about Grimm's fairy tales and Andersen's fairy tales. Like when Disney remade those fairy tales into films, they sanitized them a lot. Like in the original Little Mermaid fairy tale, and I think Grimm's fairy tales or Andersen's fairy tales, I forget which one. She died. She did not get the prince. She died, and her spirit had to go around doing good deeds so that she could eventually go to heaven. That's how that story ended. It was not a good ending. I think versus I didn't know they covered that much detail with the sound design. Wow, yeah, it was good. See, look at the Little Mermaid castles. Shaking my head. Oh, there was another classic Disney film called The Rescuers. I think it was The Rescuers, and in The Rescuers, there's a scene when they're looking out into like into a an apartment building, and there's apparently some people having sex in that apartment, but it's so distant you can't really see it. But the writers admitted that they actually like illustrated some people having sex in this apartment building in The Rescuers. And I remember The Rescuers when I was a kid watching that, and then having like the you remember when they used to do like the storybooks with the album with there was like a you get the storybooks, the Disney storybooks, and it had the little album that came with it, so that actually like narrated the story as you read along in the storybook. I had one of those for The Rescuers. Think for says, yeah, you did cover this in the last live and you were spot on. Thanks. Flutterby says some people read too much adult content into simple stuff. So rescuers were the mice. Yeah, the rescuers were the mice, but I'm saying there was a scene with humans. Um, there was like in an apartment complex, and if you don't believe me, you can look this up. You can Google it if you think I'm capping. But there's a there's a scene where there's some nude people in an apartment complex, but it's made so small that you really can't tell. But people people have sharp eyes. When you watch stuff later on DVD and Blu-ray, and then you can just freeze frames something and look at it. That's how people caught these things like way later than after when they originally watched them. So that like they watched them like on DVD or Blu-ray, and then they freeze frame stuff, and then you see stuff that you didn't notice when you originally watched stuff. Flutterby says, "Yeah, oh my god, I remember those read-alongs. I wish I had those. Those are so classics now. The last time I seen those was when I was in Thailand. There's a I was mentioning this before, but in this mall in Bangkok called Pantip Plaza, all the way at the top, there's this vintage store for collectibles, and they had some of those old read-alongs, and there they also had some of those mini storybooks that used to come with the He-Man action figures. I seen those. It was a lot of good stuff in there. I really like if I had deeper pockets that day, I would have bought some stuff. But I told my wife, I was like, I'm not gonna buy anything. I said, because I was like, I want to stick to a budget. I didn't want to blow it all on all these collectibles I saw up there. But they had some really nice stuff. They even had a Miss Pac-Man arcade game that I wish I could buy because it was like only in American money, I think it was only like $50 or $75 for the arcade, the full arcade. The only problem is like I couldn't do anything with it because I it would have cost too much to ship it. Like possibly I could have shipped it from Thailand to to the Philippines, and it wouldn't cost that much. But it would have been way too much to bring it back to America. But like, yeah, it was like a Miss Pac-Man arcade. I think they had the mini arcade games. They had it was just like a whole bunch of classic stuff from the '80s in that store. I've put a picture of it up, I think, in my community tabs, um, of the store because it's a picture of my community tabs where I say, hey, I went to 4 Chinatowns looking for a Mugwai and I finally found one, and that picture is me in Pantip Plaza in Bangkok. Thing first is not for to be. It's unfortunately documented their angles and implementation of sexually driven content. Yeah, so sometimes the writers just did it just to be funny. I don't think they did it. I don't think they did it out of malice to like corrupt kids or anything. I think they just did it just to be funny because it was put in so briefly that you really couldn't tell. Because back in that day, like the only way you was watching something was either on screen, on TV, or on VHS, and VHS wouldn't have been clear enough to make out some of these things they put in there. It wasn't until like we start watching stuff on like either like Laserdisc or then later DVDs and then Blu-rays that we could actually see that stuff in high definition. And was it just me, or was Laserdisc actually better than DVD? To me, it seemed like Laserdisc was actually like clearer than DVDs, but maybe I'm wrong. Uh, I think for instance, I still have a Jungle Book record. That's what's up. I lost all my stuff because everything I had brought with me. Well, I had some stuff actually here in my grandmother's house, and she threw most of that stuff out. But the bulk of all my toys and books and read-alongs, all that stuff from the '80s was all in Chicago. And when we moved from Chicago, we left in a rush because my parents weren't getting along, so they left almost everything in the house so whomever came to occupy that house afterwards got a treasure trove of stuff, which they probably threw away. But nowadays, that stuff would have been worth a lot. So all that stuff I lost. uh, thing first is the mini games were classic. Remember Tiger Games? Oh yeah, I've been trying to get the Tiger Games Batman. I seen that on eBay. But back in the day I had the Double Dragon Tiger Games. Flubby says I miss Disney being so special by being rare. Now it's everywhere all the time. Yeah, and then remember you could only watch the Disney Channel with a subscription. The exclusivity of it used to make it feel so much more special because I remember like twice a year Disney would show their stuff for like a week or 2 weeks for free on the Disney Channel to kind of get people to be interested in getting a subscription. But back then it was all behind a paywall, all their exclusive stuff. And then like the movies, when their movies were released um, on VHS, it was only for a short time only. Then they say it was going back into the Disney vault. So you had to get those classics within a certain time frame. If you didn't, then you wouldn't be able to see them again unless you bought them bootleg. Thing first is true. The Disney stuff used to be coveted. I think Laserdiscs were better, but it wasn't marketed as well. And I think the cost became a factor, just like the mini discs. Sony screwed that up majorly. That's true. Yeah, yeah. Cause like I knew I wasn't tripping because the Laserdisc was high quality. It was the price and the fact that they were bulky, cause like they were like the size of a record. Uh, they were the size of a record album, so it made it kind of inconvenient collecting them because it was like getting like music records. but the quality of the laser discs I think were really good. Like I think Blu-ray is on the same level now as the laser disc, but the laser disc had it just had like a really sharp quality to them. Like they're like on the level of like the high def digital right now, the HD digital. Thing first says Double Dragon. Oh my god, LOL. I had the Alter Beast game. They had Alter Beast on Tiger Games. I don't remember that. Or are you thinking of the Sega, the mini Sega game? The what was it called? Sega. I forgot, but you remember this the mini Sega game? It was like a rival to like Game Boy. Like remember there was a bunch of like rivals to Game Boy. There was the Atari Lynx, which was actually surprisingly good, but I never bought it. But there was the Atari Lynx, which was like ahead of Game Boy, and then Sega came out with their own little mini game system. Um, but I forgot the name of it. And then there was a version of the Sega mini system that could plug into the Sega video game console. The was it the was it the Sega CD or the Sega Dreamcast? It was one of them that you could connect the mini games to the main video game console. That thing first as Laserdisc looked crazy in the rental stores. Yeah. Thing versus nah, there was an Ultra Beast Tiger version. Sega had Sega CD, true, but Sega CD that wasn't Sega CD. Was that the mini version? Because I thought I thought Sega CD was the full version, and then there was remember Sega came out with a flock of stuff and they all failed for some reason. Because there was Dreamcast. Dreamcast was dope because I remember playing that in GameStop. The Sega Dreamcast and then the other Sega one. It was either Sega CD or something. Um, I think first is that fighter plane game was the drive for Sega CD, and he said nah, Sega was the full attachment for the main system. Okay, but yeah, I think one that people forgot about was the Atari Lynx, because it was just weird. The Atari came out of the left field and said, "Okay, we're getting back into the video game system, but we're gonna make a video. We're gonna make a mini game." GameCube was that Sega? No, that was Nintendo. That was Nintendo. GameCube came after the N64 because you had classic Nintendo, then you had Game Boy and Super Nintendo, then you had Nintendo 64, then you had Nintendo GameCube. But after the PlayStation 2, PS2 came out, it kind of blew the GameCube out of the water. And at the time, Nintendo was going to stop making game consoles until they came back with the Nintendo Wii. I think first is yeah, Atari did have a run. I forgot about that. I love 64 and GoldenEye. Yep. I don't remember anything off. I don't remember any games off of the GameCube. Flurry says, "Man, I always got those mixed up. Never had any of them." Well, yeah. The funny thing is the only two game consoles I actually own was ColecoVision and Classic Nintendo. I played Atari 2600, but technically that was my father's system because I could only play that at his house. That was actually his video game console. He I just played it whenever I was there, but that was technically his because he never bought it for me. He just already had it. Um, but it was sort of mine, but it was technically his. But yeah, my first game console was ColecoVision and then Classic Nintendo, and I played that all the way up until 1991, and I stopped playing it because it seemed like all the good games were going to Super Nintendo in 91. But what I didn't realize was they were still making games for classic Nintendo up until 93 in America, and overseas they kept making games up until 1995 for classic Nintendo. And I remember back in the day when Nintendo came out, I thought Nintendo was made by Coleco, but they're two different companies completely. Coleco was also the people who made the Cabbage Patch Kids and a bunch of other toys. They made a few action figures as well. Thing first is I stopped buying systems after PS2. Yeah, I just stopped buying them after classic Nintendo because at first I wanted a Super Nintendo. Then I was just like, nah, I don't feel like restarting my whole. From like 80, so from like December '87 when I first got my Nintendo to 1991. That was such a long run. Well, as a kid, that seemed like a long run, like 4 years really. But um, 4 years playing the same system, I just didn't feel the attachment to anything else afterwards. So I was just like, I'm good. Like I would play video games over my friend's house, but I never bought another console. And funny enough, now I'm about to buy the uh, the mini classic Nintendo that came out a few years ago, where it has all this games built into it instead of buying like the cartridges and stuff. Like the mini classic Nintendo now has all the games built into it, as NES ROMs. It's LOL Cartridge Pail Kids. But yeah, I used to collect those. None of the stuff I collected back then I'm into collecting now because after I lose those collections, I just don't feel like I want to get them again. Like they brought back Garbage Pail Kids like 10 years ago or something like that, and I haven't bought any packs of them yet. So like all those little trading cards that used to come out back then, like if I bought them then and I lost them, I'm not gonna restart that now. Like I'm past that. Like my baseball cards, I'm past those. The basketball cards they used to have, I'm not collecting those anymore. He said these games take up too much time, man. That's another reason I don't play video games. It just takes up too much time. That's time I could be reading, time I could be working out, time I could be spending quality time with the misses. Um, or I might want to watch like something on TV or well not TV but like streaming services like Netflix or Disney Plus, or time actually going out and doing something worthwhile with my life outside of the house. So I don't have time. And most of the adults that I do know who still play games, usually they do it like late at night, and I just don't want to be up late at night catching up with video games. I don't have the time for it. Thing for instance, oh, the emulation version for those Nintendo games is awesome. I want to play Excite Bike and Pinball. Yeah, so there's a few versions. Like there's like a few knockoff game systems with like classic Nintendo or Super NES or the Sega Master System or Sega Genesis or N64. But I don't want the knockoff ones. I want the one that's actually licensed by Nintendo itself. It's a mini Nintendo system, and it has about I think it I, I think it differs, but I think it has like at least 25 to 50 like games built into the system. Like one is like Super Mario 1, 2, and 3, Excite Bike, Castlevania, Zelda 1 and 2, Duck Hunt, Punch Out. But you gotta watch out because some of them have Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and some of them have the Punch Out with Mr. Dream. After Mike Tyson got into legal trouble, they remade Punch Out and just replaced him with a knockoff character, Mr. Dream. I don't want that version. I want the original version with Mike Tyson in it. But um, Double Dragon, all of those. I didn't know that there was like six Mega Man that came out on classic Nintendo. I thought the last Mega Man was like 3 or 4 for classic Nintendo, but they went all the way up to Mega Man 6 on the original classic Nintendo. And when it went to Super Nintendo, that was actually Mega Man 7. I had no idea like it got up that far. Final Fantasy as well. I think Final Fantasy went up to like 4. before it went to Super Nintendo. Think versus, did you ever hear why Nintendo had the design? They were trying to capitalize on the popularity of the VCR, hence the way the cartridges loaded. Yeah, I read something like that or saw something like that when I was watching one of those um, documentaries on nostalgia for like stuff from the 80s on like toys and stuff like that. And it mentioned how Nintendo decided to make their video game system different than what the Sega Master System was doing, and how Atari and Coleco had did theirs. Instead, they wanted to make it like a, I think like a sticking in a VCR. Agnes says hello, good night, sir. What's the topic tonight? Also, we've diverted from the original topic, Agatha, but the topic was just commemorating like um, James Earl Jones, who just passed away. Um, Talking about what movies people saw with James Earl Jones in it, and of course, like the biggest role for me was his role as Darth Vader, as the voice of Darth Vader. But we were talking about all the different movies we could think that had um, James Earl Jones in it because he did um, so many films, and he did a lot of stuff in theater and Broadway as well on Broadway. But like besides Darth Vader, people may have remembered him as the voice of Mufasa. They remembered him as King Joffrey Jafar in Coming to America. They may have remembered him as the supporting character in Field of Dreams, um, or in Driving Miss Daisy, or the coach on Best of the Best. Um, when he was the voice, the narrator for CNN, he said, "This is CNN." That was James Earl Jones. He was also the voice for Bell Atlantic back in the day. Um, and he played a bunch of other like parts for like he had been in Hollywood for like 50 years, if not longer. I think no, I think he no, he's been in Hollywood since the 60s. My bad. Thing first is I agree. I can't play Punch Out the first version. No way. LOL. Yeah, I like I said, I gotta play the first version. I need Mike Tyson to be like knocking people out. It can't be that little knockoff character, Mr. Dream. Like the whole sell of Punch Out was that it was Mike Tyson's Punch Out, but when they changed it to just Punch Out and then said the final boss was Mr. Dream, like who the hell was Mr. Dream? And it literally was just a light skinned version of Mike Tyson. Like that was crazy. And then of course people also know um, that Mike Tyson was the inspiration for the boxing character in Street Fighter 2 Balrog. So, and it was funny because they didn't have the rights to use Mike Tyson's name, so they originally called him M Bison, but then they switched it for the American they switched it for the American version of the game, and M Bison became the final boss, and Balrog became the boxer. So uh, Aduso said gaming is a baby vice. It's one of the weakest vices. Well, I mean, I guess you can consider it a vice. I wasn't saying it was a vice. I was just saying that I don't have time for it in my own life, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of adults don't either. That's why I said the folks whom I do know play games usually play play them up late at night, and I just don't have the patience to be up late at night playing video games. So, but that's just me. Like I could see doing that 30 years ago, but not now. Thing first says, LOL, we went down a sidebar marathon and I'm guilty as charged. He said, Baby Vice is hilarious. LOL. Agnes says, yeah, I like that. the movie Coming to America. Exactly, that was a classic. He said, he said, he said, my son wants to sow his royal oats. He said, what's the matter, son? You don't like the? He said, you don't like the sponge baths? He said, I know I do. That was funny. My son works. At least I could start quoting Coming to America all day. Um, Joshua Bryan says, "Bro, you remember me? I was here. I was in here a month ago after my girl left me when I sold my company. Now I'm down 17 pounds in 1 month. You got me motivated in the stream. Thanks again. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you took my advice. Hit the gym. Um, got away from focusing on your ex and focusing on yourself. Because, like I said, and no Diddy here, but like any girl would probably want to have you. Like any other girl wouldn't been tripping knowing you just sold your company and made. I don't want to put your business out there, but like you made a considerable amount of wealth selling your company, and she got mad at you for it. I'm like, whatever. On to the next one. So I'm glad you took my advice, hit the gym to get over her. Now you're like, look at it. Now you just caught two W's. You caught one L and gained two W's. You're up in your wealth and you're up in your health. Bars. Two W's. You know what I'm saying? Justo says, "Oh yeah, James Earl Jones was gonna come into America. I remember that. It's been a long time since I saw that movie. I need to rewatch. Well, you could rewatch it, or you can see the sequel on Amazon Prime that came out 4 years ago. Came out right during the pandemic. They, like I said, it's not going to rival the first movie, but it's still entertaining in its own right. But it's not. At least it doesn't ruin the first film. Like people who say they ruined the first film, I think they're just they're just being dramatic. It's not. It's no way near the first one. It's like, but at the same time, it is at least entertaining. It's not going to piss you off, but it's going to be like, all right, I can see it. Um, Juice says the final boss is the light skinned ghost of Mike Tyson when he was in his prime. Right. That's why they call him Mr. Dream. um, he says, I think console gaming is difficult, but now you can play all the retro games right on your phone. You can, and I did do that for a while. I used to have all the NES ROMs on my phone, but I hate using the phone to play the games. Plus, I hate the small screen, so I haven't I haven't downloaded them. I think it was my first smartphone I had 11 years ago. And yeah, 11. I'm sorry, I caught on to smartphones late. But yeah, 11 years ago when I had my first smartphone, almost 12 years ago now, actually. Um, I had all those NES classic NES ROMs, and it was funny. The first time I played a game I wanted to play back when I was a kid, I actually played on my phone, which was River City Ransom. Because when I first saw it back when I was a kid, I thought it was just a knockoff Double Dragon. But in a way, it was actually in a way, it was actually more fun than the original Double Dragon game. I think for instance, I always assume you had sex with your bathers. He said, "I know I do." Can people see this? I just they the algorithm hit this comment, but I don't have a problem with it. I don't know why they hit it. Uh, Dang it. Hopefully people can see it, but I hit show, so it should be able to be seen. Juice Up says I got all the games ranging from Contra, Killer Instinct, Street Fighter, all the way up to GBA and PS2 games on my phone. Okay. I think first says, yeah, man, recovery from a breakup is paramount and the confidence is well deserved. Good luck, my G. Then he says, Killer Instinct was epic. Killer Combo, LOL. Yeah. Juice Up says it works on iPads too. I would assume so. I don't have any tablets though. It's just my laptop and my phone. Because at the time I was like, I had two laptops. I had a phone. I had two phones, two laptops. I'm like, do I really need a tablet? So I was like, nah. The only time I had a tablet, I briefly used the Rook. Remember the Amazon? Wait, no. Remember briefly the Barnes and Noble Rook? I had that for a while, and I had another smartphone. I had the Amazon Fire phone. Do they still make those? But I gave that to a I gave that I think to one of my in laws. Said no judgment on the smartphones. Appreciate it. See, I had a BlackBerry until they stopped making them. Yeah, remember the BlackBerry was like the phone of the sophisticated, like iPhones now are like what sophisticated people have. Sorry, I'm Team Droid all day, um, but back I would say like 13 years ago. Well, no, earlier than that. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna say like 14 years ago. Um, it was still mostly about Blackberries. I think it started to change right around 2011 when a lot of people started buying iPhones. But I would say prior to that, 14 years ago, like all sophisticated people had to have Blackberries. Now they all have to have iPhones. Juice says I can't see the comment. Okay. It says deleted, but I didn't delete it. I'm not. I'm not sure. I don't know. It said that I deleted it. I may have hit the wrong button, but I thought I hit show. But he says he was quoting King Joffrey in Coming to America. He said, "I always assumed you had sex with your bathers." He's like, "I know I do." So I remember that was funny. He's basically saying, he had his wife and he was still getting it in with his bathers. Because you remember in the first scene in the movie, he's like, "The royal penis is clean, Your Highness." He just comes up. He just comes up smiling. It's like, Agnes says, "I love BlackBerry phones. Have two still. Do you still use them? I mean, what are you just using them as like? Are you just using them as paperweights now, or what do you still do with them?" Juiced Up says the differences between Android and iPhones is very small, but the price gap is very wide. True. Plus, a lot of people don't realize that Apple had actually a deal with Samsung, where Samsung was actually making the internal parts for the iPhone, and I think they still do. So by the time you got up to Samsung 6, there was very little difference between the current iPhone at the time and the Samsung Galaxy 6. Samsung sorry, this Samsung Galaxy S6 and the iPhone at the time were like pretty much running pretty similarly. Like they were using the same internal parts by that time. Um, so the differences between them start to dwindle. On top of that, actually, some of the specifications on the Samsung Galaxy S series phones were actually ahead of the iPhone. Agnes says no, just as a keepsake. I get it. I mean, some people still have their own. Some people still have those old Nokia brick phones. I mean, those things are pretty much. If there's an apocalypse, you could probably those things will probably still be running those old Nokia phones, and you didn't even have to charge it up. In an apocalypse, it'll probably just be still on like 76% battery. The most ridiculous thing about those Nokia phones back then, those little brick phones, do people remember that they used to put these little stickers on the phone that were supposed to boost the 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 connection on the phone? I was like, how's I bought them like everyone else did, but I was thinking in my head like, how are these stickers supposed to actually strengthen your signal on your phone? But does anyone else remember that? Like putting those little stickers on your Nokia phone, they were supposed to boost the signal. I forgot what they called those, but that was crazy. I'm pretty sure that was like a complete lie. Justo says iPhones are just Androids with more perks. It's not worth an extra $1,000. I agree. Um, and he says you can sell blackberries in the museum. You can see blackberries in the museum by the end of the century if you're still alive. Edward says you remember the flip phone, still have one. Yeah. So because the flip phone was like the upgrade from the Nokia brick phones. Remember like the Motorola's and the Nokia brick phones. The flip phone was the upgrade, especially when they came out with the Motorola Razors. But I remember when they first had the big flip phones, I used to love having those in the club because the light was so bright, like in a club, like when it's like dark, the phone light from the flip phone was so bright. It shot. I used to joke with my friend when we went to the clubs, like, "Oh, we're about to send out the bat, so about to send out the bat signal." Because you flip the phone and the screen was so goddamn bright, it looked like a bat signal was being shot out from your phone. So I was like, "Yo, every time I flash in a bat signal, that means I'm pulling a girl's number." So it used to be, so it used to be like, it used to be fun like pulling out your flip phone in the club, because that meant like you was either getting a girl's number, or you were important. Someone was trying to hit you up in the club. So that used to be my thing. This are you taking me back to like 2001 now, 2001 2002, like pulling out that little flip phone, that bright ass luminescent screen. Flutterby says use silver chewing gum wrap instead of stickers. Yeah, like how Flutterby? Do you remember what was the what was the technology behind that supposedly boosting the signal? I never understood that. Like, I I just went to all these little phone stores and they convinced me that if I put the sticker on, it's supposed to boost my signal, and I never knew if it really worked or not. I might have to Google that. I'm gonna have to ask. I'm either have to ask ChatGPT or Google Gemini why why those little sticker things were supposed to boost the phone signal back in the day. What was that supposed to do? It was either that or there was this accessory piece that you could put on your phone that was also supposed to boost the signal. I forgot what the accessory piece was, but first it was the sticker, then it was that little accessory that you used to put on the phone. They're playing the Darth Vader music, guys. If you can hear it in the background, I'll be quiet for a second. Can you guys hear that? The antenna, yeah. Remember, it was like, but it wasn't the antenna that came with the phone. It was like an artificial extension of the antenna or something like that that you would buy as an accessory. That also was supposed to boost it was supposed to boost the signal. Man, those were a crazy time when it came when it came to phones. So Justo says, "I thought you lived in the house." I do live in a house. This is a house. This isn't an apartment. It is, but this is my. I'm in my grandparents' home because I've been living with her since some health issues. Because people was wondering why I was here, and I was like, it was health issues, and some other stuff going on at my other place. And then there's my house, my actual house, which is in the Philippines. So who's playing Darth Vader music? That's what I'm saying. It's a lo-fi uh YouTube channel called Closed on Sunday, and they have several categories on it on Closed on Sunday. This is called the Star Wars Lo-fi, but they have other stuff on there as well. They have an anime lo-fi and some other stuff. But since this was like commemorating like James Earl Jones, I decided to click on the Star Wars lo-fi. Oh, it's funny when I go down to the YouTube suggestions, it actually shows my my live stream. So that's actually hilarious that I can see the live stream on my TV while we're actually live streaming in real time. Flurby says it was like using a metal hanger for TV aerial. Yeah, so you remember what I'm talking about? The accessory you could buy for the phone. Like I remember we were doing both. Like we were buying the little that little accessory, and we were putting a sticker on the phone, because everybody's phone connections was so shitty, depending on what service you had. Like back then, I had Sprint, but it's like you either had like Sprint, Verizon. There was Remember there was when Singular and AT&T combined. It was I think it was called ATT Singular Wireless, but it was like so many. It was like so many phone companies that got absorbed up until all of the three main ones now. But all of them that became remember you had Nextel that got absorbed also by Sprint. All the ones that got absorbed by Verizon. All the ones that got absorbed by AT&T. Like it was like dozens. It was like dozens of these smaller phone companies that got absorbed by either AT&T, Verizon, or Sprint, and then Sprint got eventually washed into T-Mobile, and so which firm's phone service works internationally? Most of them have international plans actually. Like you just have to pay extra. Like I used to be with AT&T, and they had an international phone service, but I never used it when I was in the Philippines, because when I was in the Philippines, I just bought a local phone. So, but like if you're someone who's going constantly back and forth, then the international phone service might make sense. If for like business wise, I think for business it would make sense to get an international phone plan. He said that you can travel to other countries with the same service. That's what I'm saying. You so if you Verizon and AT&T both offer international phone plans, you just have to let them know that hey, you be like, hey, I travel a lot abroad. Can I get an international phone plan? They have international phone plans. It's just like before they had the unlimited phone plans. All of them had unlimited phone plans. You just had to request it, because I remember back before they had them, they were really talking about them. They had them because my friend who was with Sprint, when we had the Sprint Spectrum or whatever, he had been with them so long that Sprint said, I actually offered him an unlimited plan, but that was before unlimited plans became the norm. This was like back in like 2003. 2002, 2003, and they gave him an unlimited plan. But back then, they didn't really have unlimited plans. Back in 2000, 2003, pretty much you had the 9 to 9, like you remember from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Um, your your phone and data was free from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So everyone used to when they used to get calls on the day like, "Hey man, call me after 9 p.m." Everybody's like, "Hey, call me after 9 p.m." So everyone got all their calls in the evening because that was the only time it was free was from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That was before, like I said, that's before they unrolled the unlimited plans. But again, if you were an elite customer, they already had those unlimited plans out. You just had to request them. So same thing with international phone plans. They already have international phone plans available. You just have to request it. Actually, some of them, if you go to the stores now and you're looking up the mobile plans, like they will show an international phone plan underneath, like in the menu of services that they offer. Most of them offer that now. If not all of them offer it. Agnes says, "Do you remember using a beeper before the smartphone was popular?" Of course. This is why I'm not a parent, but so I know people get mad when I say this because I'm not a parent, but this is why I'm like, look, these kids don't need phones any like it's not that important. And all these parents are like, yes, they do. What if it's an emergency? And I'm like, okay, what did we do as kids before there was smartphones? Like kids didn't have phones in the 80s and not in the early 90s. Like the only people who had phones in the early 90s were the drug dealers. Only one who had phones in the early 90s were the drug dealers. But almost everyone and they didn't even allow us to have pagers back then in the 90s. Almost most of us had pages, but we all had to hide them and turn them off at school so they didn't know we had them. Like I remember my pager going off once, and people like, "Yo, what's going on?" They's like, "Yo, turn your pager off, yo. You gonna get in trouble." I say, "Oh, my bad, my bad." But it was, but to get a beep in high school was like that. That was like high status. Like, oh, you a pimp? You got your pager going off on school player? Okay, I see you. Yeah, that was a big. And then you get messages on your pager like 911 or I love you, or I hate you, or stupid stuff like boobs, stuff like that. Um, like I remember dating my girlfriend in Philly, and I was in the DC area, um, and she had paged me. I think during high school, she was like, "I love you." Um, that was a big thing because we had to spell it with numbers. So, but yeah, it's like we couldn't even have pages in high school, and now you're telling me elementary kids need to have smartphones. Like, no, they don't. Like, there's nothing happening in the world today where they need a smartphone on them, um, especially at that age. And I myself will be consistent. So when I have a kid, they won't be having a kid. Sorry, they won't be having a phone before the age of 13, and they probably still won't have a personal phone till at least 16. Like they don't need a phone. And if I do let them use a phone, it'll be like I'll buy them like one of them little burner phones from like Walmart that they can use just for a certain amount of time that I need to get in touch with them. Then I'll take it back. But this whole notion that kids need phones, that's crazy. I've seen a few schools actually lashing out now, like here in Maryland. There's been a few schools in the county now saying we're going to ban smartphones during school hours, which is smart. That's what they should have been doing. I don't know where these kids got the entitlement. They must have phones on them, which was bolstered by their little helicopter parents saying, "Oh, we need to be at these kids, in touch with these kids in case an emergency." Blah. That's stupid. Ki- Back in the 80s and the 70s and the early 90s, parents were able to get in touch with their kids during emergencies at school all the time. Like that was not really a serious issue. And even if there is some sort of crisis, like heaven forbid, like a mass shooting or something, simply having a smartphone isn't isn't going to change the tide of events. It's not. So these parents saying, "Oh, I need to have my kid with a phone in case of emergency," just doesn't make sense to me. Lyman says, "Oh no, I just joined. Sorry, I can't believe James Earl Jones is dead. He was one of my favorite actors. Fly high." Yeah, Lyman, he passed away. Sorry, we were just ranting on your generation, but anyway, um, yeah, he's one of my favorite actors because, like I said, he played Darth Vader and he played Mufasa and he played King Joffrey. So those are my those are my three favorite parts that he's played. But like I said, he's been in Hollywood and in theater literally since the '60s. So he's played there. There's no part of Hollywood in which he wouldn't have been felt. So Justo says, "I thought you had kids." Mm-mm. I have nieces and nephews. So if you've ever heard me talk about kids or something, you've probably heard me referring to my niece and nephew. I have no. My wife and I don't have any kids, which is good. Like she didn't have kids, I didn't have kids, so that used to be the norm, but now it's the exception. It's weird that that's the exception now that a couple will get together who don't have kids prior to their relationship, but that's the thing now. So like I remember my sister, uh, bless her ratchet soul, told me like uh, told me 11 years ago that um, no, told me 10 years ago, well, you're in your 30s now, so anyone you date is going to have kids. And anyway, you shouldn't date anyone who's under 26 anyway. And if they're over, if they're 26 and over, they're going to have kids. And besides that, you should just accept it because you might miss out on a good relationship with someone by not wanting to be with them because they have kids. I'm like, you're speaking about your damn self, bitch. Now, I didn't say that, but I was thinking it. I was like, you're talking about yourself because you got two bastards by some pookie that you had kids with. And so now, if you get into a relationship, they'll have to accept your little kids. But I think I'm not in that situation. I don't have to accept shit. So I didn't say anything. I ended up just applying to get my passport, and the rest was history. I won't. I'm not going to accept some. I'm not going to play someone else's saved game. Would you go out and buy a video game that's already been where you put it you start to play the game and you find out it's already been saved to a certain part in the game already, or do you want to play it from the beginning? I want to play the game from the beginning. So Lyman says he was in some good movies. The Lion King and Star Wars were legendary. I think he had an amazing acting career. It's a shame he was a good actor. Yeah, it is a shame. I mean, the good thing I can say is the man had a full life. He was 93 years old when he died. So I think he's been in Hollywood so long, people probably forgot how old that man is. He was born in 1931. He was James Earl Jones was born in 1931. So he was 93 years old when he died. Like this man was born before World War II. Juice Dose says, "LOL, damn, your fam doesn't watch these streams. Even if they did, I wouldn't even care. Like, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna edit what I say and think. Like, I don't put out. Put it this way, I don't put out really bad detail. I don't put out like excruciating details about them. But when I talk about them, I don't care. It's not like I'm making stuff up. So, so if they watch, good for them. If they if they are watching, they need to drop me a damn Cash App or a super chat, and they can say whatever they want. But as far as I know, they don't, and I haven't shared my YouTube stuff with them. Um, Lyman says, "Oh yeah, he definitely did a lot and had a long life. Most people don't make it to 93 years old. Exactly. He uh, a lot of people don't make it to those nonagenarian years. Like, yeah. So now I think of it, he's is was he wait? So I thought he was from the silent generation, but the silent generation was what from 1945. See, 20. Yeah, he was. That was the silent generation because that would have been like what 19. I think like 1931 to 1945 or 19 or maybe 1929, something like that. To 1945 is the silent generation. Most people confuse the silent generation with baby boomers, but the silent generation is much older than the baby boomers. Juice Dope says a better analogy is purchasing a car with high mileage at full price. Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. Well, I was saying like playing someone else's save game is like I is I think more relevant because you're talking about like getting a girl who has a lot of bodies on her. When you're talking about purchasing a car with high mileage at full price, like a chick who has a lot of bodies on her, but then she still expects to be treated like she's like top of the shelf pussy or something. And it's like, no, you've slept with more men than a fucking Green Beret has bagged, and no. But yeah, when I say playing someone else save game, like I think that's more analogous to someone having kids. Like, I don't want to play another man's save game. Like, I'm not. I don't want to take care of another man's kids. I mean, things happen, but I think my generation, Gen X, was probably like the last generation to be stepdaddies. But that was just something I was never interested in. Like, I remember at least since I remember at least since I was like 17, maybe earlier than that. I remember at least since I was like 17, 18, I said I would never like date someone with kids. So that was just my personal feeling on it. And I told my friends that I was like, man, I got a zero kid tolerance. I was telling my friends that in college. So, Lyman says, "Do you know how he died yet, or is that unknown?" No, I think they released it. I just forgot that part. I didn't read, like, I was just so stunned about how he died. I never looked it up. Um, I should ask Alexa, but I don't want to disturb the music. Um, and I know they have it on. on the news, if I go to one of my news outlets that I watch on YouTube. Mm, yeah, I don't want to take it off the music right now, but I'll probably find out his how he died. Unless someone else in the chat wants to bring it up for Lyman. Juice says it sounds like you don't plan on ever having kids. No, definitely plan on having kids. My wife and I want kids. Um, the issue was I was never going to have kids out of wedlock. That was my point. I never wanted to have kids out of wedlock. I was a kid born out of wedlock, and I know how hard it is for children born out of wedlock. The bad thing is, or the interesting thing is, rather, depending on how you look at it, is sometimes you'll have um, um, half half siblings like I do, where some of us were born out of wedlock, and then the latest were born within a marriage, and you see how much easier it was for the kids who came along later, born within a marriage, because it's like baby boomers had this like they had their earliest kids when they were fuck ups, right? And then they later had their later kids when they got their shit together in their 30s and got married. And so the kids they had later on when they hit their 30s and they were married, those kids had an easier life than us kids who were born out of wedlock when our parents were still in their early 20s, maybe even late teens. I I don't want to put a kid through that. Like I don't believe in I don't believe in carrying on generational curses. I'm not gonna have a kid out of wedlock. Like I was born out of wedlock. Um, I I'm not gonna have kids with multiple women. It's gonna be just one woman. Um, it's gonna be when I'm financially secure. So like my father had his first kid when he was 18, which is my older sister, and he caught hell for it. Like my grandfather never even acknowledged my older sister as his granddaughter because he was ashamed that my father had this kid when he was 18. And it was just 2 years later when he had me. But everyone accepted my mother. So um, I'm not going to put a kid through a struggle. Like kids born into a marriage typically are born into a higher social economic status, enjoy enjoy better health and higher IQ. So Bright Israel says, "Good morning, sir. What's going on, Bright?" But yeah, I definitely want kids, Juice though. I've probably wanted them for like the past. I want to say at least the past uh, eight. I've wanted them for the past 8 years. But I will have some soon. Why, luckily, I mean, men can still do. I mean, we saw like both Al Pacino and what's the other actor? They both had kids. 80 like they're like in their 90s now. Like Al Pacino and what's his name? They're both like 90. They just had babies. Lyman says my half brother was born out of wedlock, but his biological dad left him and my mom, so it was twice the struggle. See, that's what I'm saying. See, until they find my biological dad, Robert De Niro. Yep. And then Al Pacino just break up with his wife or girlfriend. So now she's gonna get him. I think she's gonna get him for like child support and alimony in his 90s. I'm like, God damn, Al. I know you the, I know you the, I know you Scarface. I know you Carlito. I know you the Godfather. But uh, and I know you Big Boy. If you get the, if you know him from the Dick Tracy movie, he played all these mob bosses. But damn, man, gonna be stuck on child support in your 90s. Shit. But yeah, we can still, as long as my wife, that's why I wanted a younger wife, so I have someone who's still fertile. So she's not 35 yet. And even at 35, the whole notion of geriatric pregnancy, it's kind of unfair to say at 35 that's where they hit the pregnancy wall, because it's really, they can still have healthy children at that age, but it is optimal to have them before 35. But it's not necessarily geriatric pregnancy at 35. That was probably more so the case 20 or 30 years ago, but that's that's let's be honest, like uh, people in their middle years today, in their 30s or 40s, are biologically younger than their their forebears 30, 40 years ago. Like, if you look at a 30-year-old today compared to a 30-year-old in the 70s, huge difference. Huge difference. So, um, a woman today at 35 can carry a successful pregnancy much easily than a woman 50 years ago. So, Lyman says you're voting this year. Of course, you haven't seen all my all my political posts, and because I kept getting one guy who kept trolling my channel, some guy named King Taffer. I don't even think he was American, honestly, but he kept saying Trump or Harris. I'm like, dude, I've literally answered that in like a dozen videos, because he came on my live stream yesterday where I said, it was Ask Me Anything Sunday. He was like, well, you can ask me anything. I was like, yeah, no, I said, you can ask me anything, but I've literally been asked that already like dozens of times, and I've answered each time. So I was like, at this point, if you join my streams, you should have already known my answer. But yeah, I'm voting. Um, I am voting anything but blue, which means all the way down the ticket is it's gonna be either like a Republican, or if they're not Republican, they can't be Democrat. And if there's no person to contest that person for that particular position, I'll write my own name in, because you can do that. You can write in whatever candidate you want if there's no one on the ballot that you choose. So that's when. So if I get to some local position somewhere for like I'm contesting this person, but I see that a Democrat, I'm voting anything but blue. So I tell my bad, I'm new to your channel, so I'm not familiar with your political views. Okay, that's fair. But that other guy he was trolling though. I know you're being sincere. The other guy, he was definitely trolling. So it was like, I was speaking of which, like this one guy, today, um, Mark Hamill shared a post on Instagram, you know, in remembrance of James Earl Jones, and some little leftist douchebag he was like, yeah, rest in peace to James Earl Jones. He supports Palestine, so he's a legend. And everyone came after him. He was like, oh well, if you guys are so sensitive about somebody um, voicing their opinion, then you guys have a problem. I was like, they don't have a problem. I was like, they may be unable to elegantly speak why they dislike what you said. I said, but the point of the matter is James Earl Jones' talent speaks for itself, and his status as a Hollywood legend is not tethered to your views on what his political leanings were. So, Lyman says, what annoys me is that people assume all blacks and Mexicans vote blue and only whites vote red. My dad is Mexican and is voting for Trump because he's tired of BS. Actually, there are a lot of Latinos for Trump right now. People, this is the this is the lib this is the racism of liberals. This is something that you wouldn't be familiar with, but Malcolm X has literally talked about this over 60 years ago. Malcolm X said it was nothing worse than the racism of liberal Northeast of white Northeast liberals, because they're the ones who make you think that they are actually doing things to help you, and they are not. He's at least with the redneck fox. I mean, no, he's at least with the southern redneck wolf. You know they make their intentions clear, and you can plan accordingly. But with the liberal fox, he called them the, the liberal fox, like those in the Northeast, like places like in you know like New York or Boston or Vermont, places like that. Well, in L.A. in Seattle, whatever. Like they pretend that they're for you, but they're really not. If a black person doesn't tote the Democratic line, they will come at you so hard. Oh, you're a sellout to your own people. Oh, you're a self-hating black person, or all the shaming tactics. And these 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 liberal racists think that all Latinos will be for them because they support illegal migration. And I'll tell you right now, there are a lot of Latinos who are more against illegal migration than most Americans are, because it hurts them. It hurts their communities. Like the fact that they had to come here the hard way, and then you see these people just skirting the rules to get here. It's like, well, the fuck. Like I played by the rules, but now you're just going to reward these people for breaking the law. Like it's a slap in the face to all the Latinos who came here the right way. That's why you see a lot of them actually supporting Trump. And you really don't. And like, then on top of that is a slap in the face to these Latinos and other immigrants who came here legally. And you see these illegal migrants coming here, and they're actually giving them financial benefits for coming here, breaking the law. Like, like how, like, I, I would be livid. I would be livid if I was Latino. I struggled to bring my family here legally, and then now see the government rewarding people for coming here by breaking the law, giving them like EBT benefits. Like some of these people got like $10,000 on their EBT card. Like this, SNAP food benefits. Busing them to these um, black communities in like Chicago and New York, and hooking them up with housing or hotel lodgings. One place in New York, I think they closed down a school so they could lodge them, or and then allowing them to commit crimes with with impunity, like sitting there, uh, uh, sex assaulting women, um, getting into fights with police officers, unaliving people. You had the Venezuelan gang who took over an entire apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. And it's like, hey, we came here the right way, and we're struggling um, to be to do better in this country, but you're rewarding these people for breaking the law. I would be like, oh hell no, I'm signing Trump. Yeah, if I was Latino, that's how I would think too. He said, my dad says that the word Latinx pisses off every Latino. Yeah, I've heard that too. Like this was actually a discussion I had with some friends a long time ago. I was like, I don't know any Latino who actually prefers the term Latinx, and I was like, I wanted to ask someone, but I didn't want to offend them by asking them. And they was like, no, just ask one. And I was like, yeah, maybe. I said, I just gotta be careful how I ask because I don't want to offend anyone. Because I said some of them might embrace the term, but from my the only Latino I know who embraces the term is a left leaning actor himself, which is what's that guy named the Puerto Rican actor damn, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he's like the only. But again, he's a like a very liberal Hollywood actors. He's the only Latino I know that actually embraces the term Latinx, but I don't know any who do. He said the word Latinx was made by liberals and nobody uses it. Yeah, I get it. Just like the term um like people of color. Black people don't use the term people of color because it's their way of basically talking about other people who are non-white instead of just when we're specifically referring to our own community. Like when we're talking about like black people, then they want to say, well, yeah, people. Well, this person is a person of color. I was like, yeah, but are they black? Right. So it's like, well, they're Indian or Persian or something. Like, okay, they're not black. You just, yeah, no, that doesn't count. Then there's the other one, BIPOC, Black and Indian person of color. Oh, I'm sorry, Black and Indigenous people of color, BIPOC. Like Black people don't use these terms. We just say Black people because a lot of what happens is when they say persons of color or POC or BIPOC, Black and Indigenous persons of color, they're they're trying to take they're trying to extend certain social and legal things that were in, written intently for the black community and extending them to all these other communities, which means they no longer apply to us. That's why black people didn't really care when affirmative action for colleges was revoked because we weren't even taking advantage of it. The people who got the most out of affirmative action were white women. And outside of white women, it was immigrants. Some of these immigrants were black, but they weren't black Americans. They were black immigrants, people from the Caribbean or the continent of Africa or Latin America. Um, so, yeah, people on the left and liberals, like, often the stuff that they think is helping us is actually, not helping us at all, if not outright hurting us. Like, allowing allowing a flood of illegal is not helping the Latino community and any other American community except for like the wealthy elite who can use these people for cheap labor. And then it will also be used by Democrats to hopefully register them to vote as Democrats. But the irony is that most people who flee poor countries are usually more conservative because they're usually fleeing the bad leftist economic policies of their countries like Venezuela and Ecuador and China. So Amani says, "Hey, I have school in the morning, so I have to go to bed. But also, did you hear about the school shooting? My sister goes to the school that it happens to. You're in Georgia, Amani? I mean, I heard about it, but I didn't get too much into it because I'm so like burnt out and mass shootings. Because there's at this point there's like a mass shooting like every few weeks, and unfortunately, it's happened so much that it's kind of been kind of desensitized to it, unfortunately. But I hope your sister was is safe. But I appreciate you always showing up, Amani. She's in and out, guys. Lyman says, and as a Latino myself, the word Latinx pisses me off so much. No, I get it. I get it. Justo says, what does Latinx mean? Again, that's a good question. We don't really know what it means. It was basically meant to represent all people of Latino, Hispanic, and Spanish speaking communities. It was supposed to be like a one, the term that embraces them all. One ring to bind them, one ring to hold them. And let me stop. But yeah, that sort of thing. My mind says, yeah, I'm in Georgia. Okay. Lyman says, Justo Latinx means like a gender neutral term for people of Latino descent, replacing Latino and Latina is annoying as hell. Oh, so it's supposed to be like gender neutral. Okay, I get it. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that's no wonder nobody wants that. Because I can see them trying to do that for Filipinos instead of like Filipino and Filipina. It'll be like Philippine-X. Like, no one wants that. Mine says, yeah, she's okay, but someone tried to close the door on her and it's almost crushed her rib. Oh, damn. So tell her when there's a shootout, she should immediately hit the ground. Don't run. I think the worst thing people do in mass shootings is everyone runs amok and they make themselves easy targets, especially if these people are carrying semi-automatic weapons. You can just spray at people indiscriminately, and if you see people just fleeing a scene like they're just open targets, the best thing to do is immediately hit the ground. And once you hit the ground, you low crawl to like whatever sort of per- place you can like hide behind. If it's like a pole, a bush, a wall, a chair, a desk, um, a vending machine, a door, whatever. Like you hit the ground. You hear you hear live you hear rounds going off. Hit the ground immediately. This is something I told my wife and other people whom I've dated. I was like, if something ever happens, if you ever hear like some bullets firing, just immediately hit the ground and like find like the closest thing that you can to hide behind. I was like, but do not go. I was like, but when you hear bullets firing, do not go off and just start running because you don't know where it's coming from and you don't know where the person is. So just hit the ground. Mine says, okay, I will, but he was chasing her and other people that were in the hall, which was three, and two got killed except for her. Oh, so he was actually chasing her. Oh my goodness. And this gets into like mental health issues. Like in other countries like the Philippines, you have to you you have to pass both a background evaluation and a psychological exam. I think that's a good idea. The third thing I would add in is that you must get firearm training. Some that's controversial in the Second Amendment community. Some people are for are for the requirements that people who purchase firearms that they get firearm training.
Some people think it's not, it shouldn't be a requirement, but I think so. It's like when you get your driver's license, you're expected to actually know how to drive. Like if you get a, since when you get a firearm, you have to qualify. Like here in Maryland, you had to get a HQL, your handgun qualify, excuse me, handgun qualification license. So I don't know. It made sense that if you had to get a HQL, that you actually had to learn how to actually use that firearm. Juiced up, it happened in Georgia. Mine says yeah, because she was in the hall and the classroom doors were closed, so he was coming at them. Yeah, but still, if like I get it, but if you can't run away from gunfire like that. Not in a hallway. It's a narrow hallway. Like if he, depending on how close he is, I'm just gonna fight him. This is why I carry a knife on me everywhere I go. Except if I'm like in a government office or somewhere. But anywhere that doesn't, I'm not getting patted down. I keep a knife on me. Like even my belt, this belt. So, because more than likely, people are gonna attack you in close quarters. In close quarters, the knife is king. In close quarters, the knife beats the gun. So um, I get in the hallway, but like in the hallway, you're like sitting ducks. Like is it either way? I'm glad she's safe. Absolutely, I agree. So she should be getting a paycheck. Like your parents should definitely be pressing charges so that they can pay for her medical bills. Because I'm pretty sure she had to go to the hospital for her crushed ribs, and that should be being paid by by the local government or whomever is going to be found at fault for the incident. So your parents definitely should be filing some sort of liability case. Justo says, I just looked it up. It was a guy with blonde hair. I almost thought he was a girl at first. Well, because he was a bitch. That's why. I'll say that much. For doing some stuff like that. And they always got the same profile. It's some incel. I'm telling you, this I disagree with Bill Maher on a lot of things, but he's right. He is like, we should get all these little incel type of guys some hookers. This is why he's like, this is why prostitution should be legal in America. These dudes who are like socially awkward losers, no friends, writing these little epithets on online about how they hate everyone and they're going to get back at people. These people need to get some. These people need to get laid. I guarantee, like, I agree with Bill Maher. If these guys were getting laid, they wouldn't be worrying about shooting people up in schools. Instead, they probably be working so they can go back to their brothel. Like, hey, I got save on my next check, and I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna go see. Nah, I don't want to say that name because that's gonna be racist. But he did, um, uh, I'm gonna go see Lee again. First thing first is a little poontang goes a long way. Exactly. This is what I was trying to tell Miss Needle yesterday. She didn't want to hear it though. I was trying to tell Miss Needle. I was like, look, some of these really socially awkward people who kind of lost, are kind of lost right now in their lives. I was like, get them laid, and they'll stop being social nuisances. I was like, I'm pretty sure a lot of these
these mass shooters, if they were getting some, they wouldn't have been trying to shoot people up. If you got those Columbine shooters back in 1999, some, some pussy, they wouldn't have been shooting anybody up. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be blunt. The guy who dressed up like the Joker back when The Dark Knight came out, if that man was getting some pussy, he wouldn't have been worrying about shooting up people in the movie theater. I'm serious. Ain't nothing that clears the head like some head. um, sorry, this is not for you. I forgot we got Amani in here. Amani, you're not supposed to be hearing this stuff. I'm sorry. Let me censor what I'm saying, guys. Amani is a young lady here. Amani says, but they do not do anything when my dad told them his name was Colt Gray and my sister was with him in first period and he left class and came back banging other doors and she ran in there. Juso says, yeah, they have too much free time on their hands to be plotting all this stuff up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they were like normal, like horny dudes just worrying about getting some, they wouldn't be worrying about shooting people up and all this sort of plotting revenge on people. Appreciate the love, Bobby Taylor. um, Monty says her friend died. I'm sorry to hear that. Juso says, yeah, Colt Gray is his name, blonde, long haired guy. Weirdo. Like I said, if he was like the kids on American Pie, he wouldn't have been worrying about shooting anybody up. Like I said, normal like red blooded dudes that's like about getting some action. Not worry about hurting other people. Only thing they want to beat up is beat up the nook the nookie, right? That's the only thing that matters. Like these guys, like I said, it's not a gun problem. It's a mental health problem. The reason why I can say that is that in other countries where they have very strict gun laws, they have mass stabbings. And to me, that's actually scarier because from a distance, I can find cover. I've from my army days, I remember the 3 to 5 second rush. I'm up, they see me. I'm up, they see me. I'm down. So, but in close quarters, knives are so much more deadly and scarier, especially when you have a group of people with knives. Like, what can you do against that? That's hard. Thing first says this is all true, and you see it with weird adults as well. I can see it. I can see it off. RIP. Um, um, what's WH3? Wait. Uh, Bobby says, "What did Trump do for this country named Five?" That's not what the top. This is not what this topic is about. So I'm not about to try to do all that stuff. If you want to, if you want to go into like a, we can save that for tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be the debate between Harris and Trump. We can have it out then. After that debate tomorrow, we can have it out about Trump and all that stuff. But we're not doing that today. I'm commemorating James Earl Jones. I'm not here to this to. I'm not here to get into your little debates about Trump versus Harris or Biden. I don't care. I don't care today. Save that for tomorrow. We'll talk about that after the debates. Miss Nita says, "No man, they're demon driven. That's all. Unforgiveness builds a bitter heart." What's up, Miss Nita? I didn't even know you were here. Miss Nita's like my German sister, guys. Thing first is when I meet them. Lonnie says, yeah, his dad gave him permission to have the gun and shoot up the school, and originally he came up with the idea of him shooting up the school in the first place. His father, see, mental health issues. Juice Dope says a gunman you can hear from a mile away, but not a knife man. I know that's what I'm saying. To me, that's scarier. Being someone who trains with knives, and I know how much deadlier a knife is in close quarters than a gun is. In close quarters, a gun is actually harder to use in close quarters. And when you're talking about like a long gun like a AR-15 or AK-47 or a semi-automatic shotgun or um, one of those um, like single shot bolt rifles, like all of those would be harder to use in close quarters. Knives can easily disengage and just go in for it. And then, like I said, in some of these places, they are mass stabbings. Like there's like a group of people with blades attacking, like just attacking innocent people. That's scary. Lyman says, "My bad, I had to eat." No, no problem. Bobby Tan says, "Exactly, I'm done." You didn't make any point, dude. I'm saying that's not the focus of this topic. You didn't make any point here. My point is, I'm not answering it because that's not what this topic's about. You don't come into a topic and say, "Hey, this is what I want to talk about," and I say, "No, that's not what we're talking about." Then you be like, "Okay, then I made my point." No, you didn't. That's not how debating works. That's not how logic works. That's not how effective communication works. You're sounding like a fucking nutball. Again, save it for tomorrow when we do after we talk about the debate. Harris and Trump are going to do a debate tomorrow. We can talk about it then. If you want, if I've said this in every stream. I didn't say it today, but I'll say it right now. If you want to change the focus of the topic, then drop it in the super chat. If you really want me to talk about what you want to talk about, you'll drop it in the super chat. If you if you're really about that life and you really care about what you want to talk about, drop it in the super chat. If you're not dropping in the super chat, you're not serious. You're just a troll. Leaving all those little blue fucking hearts doesn't change my mind. I don't even want to see hearts from another man. I'm gonna be blunt. I don't want to see hearts from another man. That shit's that shit's mad, uh, mad Diddy. Lyman says big back needed for. Hey, I got a big back too. I just got a slim waist. I got big back, slim waist. But speaking of which, so guys, if you aren't members of my channel, you're missing out because I've put out some fitness stuff and martial arts stuff in my members only videos. But I will be doing a martial arts video for everyone. But the ones I've made so far are just members only stuff. But I'm gonna make a intro JKD kickboxing video for folks, for everyone that's not gonna be members only. But if you want to check that out, go ahead and check that out. I know Flutterby likes it. What time are you live tomorrow? So I'm probably gonna do a, and we're gonna like have probably become a and then the day after we can talk about the debate. But so the last time there was a debate with Biden and Trump, I didn't want to. I had considered like live streaming during the debate, but I thought that it would be that would probably have copyright issues, and I was right to think so because any place that live streamed the debate, um, they they were doing it with the permission of CNN CNN was the one who did the debate. So any of the other major outlets that also showed the debate did it through the permission of CNN. And on the live stream, I would just got copyright strike for that. I'm pretty sure. So it was no point in doing a live that it get demonetized like that. At the time, I wasn't monetized, but I know this stuff will be replayed once it's uploaded. So I don't want to play something that I know is going to eventually be demonetized. But I think it's going to be like either 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. tomorrow my time. I think. Hold on, guys. Let me respond to the wifey. Amani says, and like I said, I have to go to bed. So yeah, bed. If you can, please keep Appalachia and Mason and Kristen in your prayers tonight. Gotcha. I don't pray myself, but I definitely will think about how these shootings actually affect people. Like when you don't know people involved in it, it becomes really abstract. But when you actually know people involved in suffering these incidents, it's it becomes more personal. Thank you, Flutterby. She sent me uh, one £1 and 99 cents. Thank you, and it has a coffee. Thank you, Flutterby. Get some sleep, Amani. She's a young lady, guys, so please be nice to Amani. She's very sweet. Lyman says, "Do you have any Christian lives? I see some Bibles." Well, this is my grandmother's house, so all these Bibles. I actually do have a children's, but I actually do have my own Bible, by the way. I have a Bible and a Quran. Um, Thinking I should get a Torah as well, but like the my holy books, I got those in college because these different um online. I mean, not online. These different campus. There's a lot of different religions on my campus or my alma mater, so that's why I got them. There was a place that used to pass out the little New Testaments. Um, and I remember it was a few times like they were all the way down Campus Drive of University of Maryland, which stretches all the way from Route One, if people know Maryland, to the other side of the campus where the parking lot begins. And that is a long stretch. Like that's at least a whole kilometer. And it was a bunch of them just lined up asking, handing out New Testaments and asking if they want them. But it was like actual campus religions. They would be at the student union, giving out Bibles or giving out Qurans and asking people if they want to come to their service. So I got a Bible. I think it was a New King James Bible, and I got a Holy Quran, which is written both in Arabic and in English, which was cool. So one side was in Arabic, the other side was in English. Because I remember it was like the Muslim Student Association on campus, and they were handing them out. And I was like, "Hey, may I have one?" They was like, "Sure." They lit up. Handed me a Quran and told me more about their student association. Um, there's a Jewish service on my campus as well called uh, the Hillel Center. There's a Catholic student association. There's a Catholic, uh, actually like a Catholic church on campus. There's a non-denominational temple on campus that all the different religious services can use. So yeah, thanks for the iced coffee, Flutter B. I'm gonna drink some. Matter of fact, I might make some after I get off it here because I need to go work out. Justo says, yeah, sounds like a very traumatic experience. Let's hope all innocent people came out all right. Yes. Um, they need to bring back metal detectors. So yeah, they're talking about that here in Maryland too, because this kid in Joppa, so they this black kid just murdered someone here in Baltimore in Harford County, Maryland, in Joppatown High School, and now all the legislators, local legislators, are saying we should bring metal detectors in all the Baltimore County schools. So, Amani says, "Okay, thanks. I will carry the generous thing that you are doing for me and pass it on. Good night." You're welcome, Amani. And if like if you really need like some other like I don't know um like I don't know like advice or talk about that, hit me up on my socials. I'm available. I have a business Facebook account attached to this channel. I have a business IG account attached to this channel, and I have an email attached to this channel. So if people want to reach out to me off screen, that's how people can reach me. Like if they need like some questions they want to ask me off screen for for their own discretion, you can hit me up that way. Um, Lime says, "Are you a Christian?" No, I'm not. Um, no. Justo says, "But all high schools need metal detectors now nationwide." I agree. It's uh, unfortunately we're at that point where we might just need metal detectors. I mean, Baltimore City schools since the 80s used to require kids to have clear backpacks so they could see them. And they started doing it in the county for a little bit too, but I remember that like in the 90s, like kids. I went to a county school, but the city kids they had to have backpacks that were clear that you could see through them, so you could see everything that's in your backpack. Rugard Party Services. Did you ever do nitrous in college? It's always been a thing with bands like Fish and the Grateful Dead, but now rappers like Kanye do it. Absolutely not. No, I've never done nitrous. Nope. The only drug that I've done when I was young was smoke weed. That is it. I had no desire to do anything anything weird like that. Amani says, "Okay, go to bed, Amani." Lyman says, "I've got one more religious question, and that's it. What do you believe? Like what religion?" I don't hold any religion. I'm atheist. Um, but I do have respect for different religious views. I have a Saint Michael on my dog tags because I remember um, when we were called up to be deployed back in 2003. Um, one of the one of the NCOs handed out the little St. Michael's pendants to all of us. So, and I remember at the time I was being hard headed. I was like, I don't want one. I'm atheist. I don't need that. But it was just a nice notion because Saint the patron saint of the U.S. Armed Forces. For people who don't know that, so now I accept that on my dog tags. And like I said, I do have holy books. I have a Holy Bible. I have a Holy Quran. I think I should get a Torah. When I was a kid, I briefly had a Book of Mormon, but my parents took it away from me because they thought I was gonna get dragged into becoming a um, Christian of Latter Day Saints, um, which I don't see that as being a problem because at least I would have been religious at a time where I had started to question religion when I was 13. I had become By the time I was 13, I was fervently a religious skeptic, and it's, it's funny they it's funny them turning away those ladies from the Church of Latter Day Saints when they weren't. I mean, of course, they were trying to get me involved in the church, but it wasn't forceful. And one, I had asked them to come. They didn't ask me. I asked them to come to my house and explain to me the books. I had never heard of that. I had never heard of that religion before. So when I saw it on TV, I was just naturally curious and reached out to them. They came to the house. They gave me a Book of Mormon, and they started explaining it to me. And I think my parents freaked out and said, "No, no way." So now they got a kid that has no beliefs. um, Justo says, "What's going on with Kanye nowadays? What's happened to the old Kanye? I think he needs better psychiatric treatment, or he needs to just keep attending his psychiatric treatment. I think that's the difference between the old Kanye and the new Kanye. Some people say it was when his mother died. That might have something to do with it. I think his mother dying might have been a trigger to to unleash his mental health issues, but he's it's not something that suddenly happened to him. Like people who have severe mental illnesses, this is not something that happens overnight just because of some acute trauma. This is like something someone already was genetically predisposed to having, like things like things like depression and schizophrenia and anxiety disorders. These things run in families. Um, so you're you're not going to go from like just normal to weird, because that used to be a belief amongst people, and it's just not realistic. Like we used to have a neighbor here when I used to live here as a kid, um, 30 plus years ago, who was schizo, but he was a nice guy. He was a disorganized schizophrenic, because everyone thinks schizophrenics are like these scary people. They're really not. Schizophrenics are people who typically have thought disorders. And the type of schizophrenia he had, if I had to guess, because again, I don't know his diagnoses other than I knew he was schizophrenic, but he would talk to me and he would be all over the place in his conversation. So I knew that from that conversations that I used to have with him as a kid, that he was a disorganized schizophrenic. Disorganized schizophrenics, just like their thoughts are all over the place. They can't focus. Like it's, but they tend to be tend to not be like harmful people. They might be harmful to themselves because they can't have coherent thoughts to lead to like rational behavior, but they typically don't hurt people. Um, but it looks that it looks to be that Kanye is on has some form of bipolar disorder. There's like three forms of it, of bipolar disorder. Um, I think it probably did get worse when his mom died. That might have been the trigger, but he's been living with those problems probably way before we were cognizant of it. It didn't just happen overnight when his mom passed away. So I don't know, but I would not be if I'm already. And another thing is, a lot of people who are addicted to drugs or may not be addicted to drugs, but just use them heavily, a lot of them have underlying psychological issues that they're self medicating for. So, yeah, I would not use any hard drugs. I don't know if nitrous counts as a hard drug, but back then, for most of us, anything beyond weed was considered um, not normal. Like weed was acceptable, but seeing someone like do like cocaine or something else or heroin or something like that, that would have been considered uh, that would have because that would have been considered way too far. And I didn't know anyone using nitrous in college. Juiced up says Rumspringa. You bring that back up. Speaking of Rumspringa, are you still here, Miss Needle? I think most people have gone, which is kind of my cue. I should get off as well. Thank you again, Miss Flutterby, for the super sticker and the pound 99. I appreciate that a lot. But yeah, it's getting late, guys. Um, Rugar says I saw a video of black youth in the 50s talking about how great heroin is and how it's better than alcohol that their parents drink. Yeah, and all those and all those black youth were strung out by the 60s. By the 60s, they were the ones who were all strung out. Now, the thing is, even with hard drugs, and this is something they don't want to tell people because it might lead to the wrong consequences. But not everyone who uses hard drugs gets addicted to them. Like, the, it's unfair, but life is unfair. But you have some people who might use a hard drug once and they're automatically hooked, whereas there's someone else who can use it recreationally without being addicted to it, and it's because of our different genetic makeups that determine that. So if you already are in a family where people suffer from substance abuse or alcoholism, then you're already genetically predisposed to having those problems. So um, the best thing to do is not try those hard drugs at all to avoid falling down that falling down that path. And like I said, I couldn't imagine recreationally using heroin or any of those other drugs. That would just, that would be bad. But anyway, guys, I'm about to get off soon. But again, I want to bring it back into focus what the original topic was, which was to commemorate the life of the legendary actor James Earl Jones, who passed away today at the age of 93. He was born in 1931. So he is from the silent generation. He has been in Hollywood and in theater since the 60s. And, he'll be sorely missed. I loved him as Darth Vader, which you'll see in the picture for this for this stream. But he's played many notable roles throughout his career. Some people may know him better from Coming to America. Some people may know him better from his voice as Mufasa. Some people might remember him as the voice narrating This Is CNN. Some people might remember him as the voice of as the spokesperson for Bell Atlantic at one point. If you were on the East Coast, some people may remember him from classic movies like Field of Dreams. But in any case, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry. But in any case, great actor. great person, um, will be sorely missed. And if you haven't seen any of his movies, check them out. He's been in, it would be hard to think unless you never watch Hollywood films. It would be hard to say that you've never seen him or have heard his voice in a film. Like I say, unless you just don't watch films or you're not or you didn't grow up watching American films. He said, "Is Misty old? Are you talking about? You talking about the cat? The cat? No, she's like, was she like 1 years? Like, I guess she's like 1 years old now. Or a little, she's a little bit over 1 years old now. Like I guess she's going on 2 years old. If you talking about Misty the cat, I don't know if you talking about Misty the cat in my videos, but yeah, Misty, she's a young cat. But other than that, guys, if there's no other questions, I'm gonna get going. Anyone else have any questions? I'll give it a minute. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. I'm trying not to sneeze. Here, I got all messages. And like I said, tomorrow we're going to get into it with the because tomorrow there's going to be the debates. Not the debates, the debate between Harris and Trump. Hopefully, this won't be as boring as the Biden, the Biden versus Trump debate. That one was boring, probably because they cut their mics. Unfortunately, they're gonna cut mics on this one too. So, and if you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe. Uh, Also, you can share the videos so I can spread the message. If you hit the notification bell so you know when I'm uploading new content. If you don't see notifications when I'm uploading a video, that's just because I did it as soon as I, I you know I did it as soon as as I went live, so it didn't have time to notify anyone previously. Also, if you appreciate what I do, you can donate like Flutterby did. When I'm live, you can send me super chats or super stickers. Like I said, Bobby Taylor, if he really wanted me to answer his question today, then he could have dropped me a super chat and I would have answered his question. But if it's not something we're talking about in on a given topic, I'm not going to answer it. He had all day yesterday to ask me that question. Um, Yesterday was I did Ask Me Anything Sunday, so he could have asked me that on my Ask Me Anything day. It really pisses me off that people will come into a my chat and talk about something that's not even the focus of the topic when I've literally just done an Ask Me Anything the day previously to that. Like every time I have a Ask Me Anything day, I was like, all right, guys, this is the day where you can ask me anything on any given topic, and I don't get too many people. And then the very next day, when I have a topic on something of a specific, on a specific range of things, say like today talking about James Earl Jones and his career, then you're gonna ask me something about name 5 things that Trump did. Like that's not no. I was like, if you want me to answer that, drop a super chat or a super sticker. Um, but yeah, if people want to contribute to my channel, um, I have memberships, 3 levels of memberships. There's Contrarian level, which is only $2.99 US. Um, there's Skeptic, which is $5.99, I think, and there's Skeptic level, which is $9.99. So you can buy membership, have access to my members only content, and if you pay for the full $9.99 level membership, you're invited to come on a live stream with me, uh, or you can send me a super thanks on my regular videos, um, or you can send me a cash app, or you can buy me a coffee like Flutterbee has and a few other people did at buymeacoffee.com. That link is in the description along with my cash app and my Venmo. But like I said, you can send me a super thanks on any video. You can drop me a super thanks. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I think that's a wrap. I think most people are gone. They either starting off their day or about to end their day. So either way, you guys take it easy. I appreciate it and thank you.